right, Jenna and Justin Culley from Linen Effects and Jenna Culley Events.
That's right.
Anything else that I left out?
Well, technically our parent company is JC Hospitality.
Oh, it is?
Oh. Yeah.
Uh-huh. We
Nice.
needed a parent company.
Okay.
Both of our initials are JC, so
That worked out.
there you go.
JC Hospitality.
That's right.
And the Jenna and Justin just.
Yeah.
Right.
JC.
It's a good
Alliteration.
pairing. It's a very good pairing.
It is.
How did you guys
we
even
planned that?
Yeah.
You guys
Well,
plan
she
it?
planned that. She's the planner.
She
That's
is the planner.
Yeah.
How did you guys actually meet?
Well,
They're like, Is it a good story?
Scandalous story.
no,
man.
it's not scandalous. Well,
It's mildly scandalous.
it's good.
You
Um,
worked
like-
together, yes?
Yes.
Mhm.
So
That's a little scandalous, like a little
well,
We did,
okay,
yeah.
we were interns together.
Interns,
Where at?
Out at a club, sailing yachting tennis club out in New York. So
All right. So
We
not even
actually-
in Minnesota. Nice.
No.
yeah, no, and
No.
I'm from Wisconsin. He's from Iowa.
We both
Um,
went to Stout. That's
yep.
where we graduated from.
Never
you know
met
each other?
But
you
no,
did.
we never. Our paths never crossed at Stout.
Well, technically, I watched you play basketball, but I didn't notice you, so I don't know.
Oh,
My roommate was
I
on
was
his
not that
intramural
great.
team.
Yeah.
he was
Well,
like,
I
"You're
need
to work
gonna
on
be
my
the
You
best."
can't watch him
crossover.
play
Yeah.
if he's on the
Yeah.
bench.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. She's like,
But-
I watched the back of your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk,
But
go
I
back
played
and forth.
intramural, just co-ed intramural basketball with her roommate.
Yeah. Yep.
Aw.
Just
And-
randomly.
Yep. And we went and watched them play in the championship, but anyways, we actually met.
Which we won.
Yeah.
Were you?
So I have a
Did you
t-shirt
start?
that
Were you a
says I'm
starter?
winner.
Were you? You got a ring, but no.
Yeah.
Did you play a lot?
I
I'm
played
super
like
interested
half
in-
the time. Well, I think we had like 7 guys on the team. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah, we didn't have a big squad.
But we actually met. So our paths like circled each other, but we never met until we were out in New York at this internship. And then we met. And then, yeah, I don't know. We very quickly decided we were very good friends.
She friend zoned you, dude.
No.
No, the opposite.
Oh, okay.
Good friends.
I thought you
Yeah,
you
not
friend zoned
like-
him
yeah, we weren't
first.
stuck
No.
in the friend
Gotcha.
zone.
Yeah, no.
No. But
No, we
we
were not. There was no friend zone.
No, there was no friend zone.
No.
So it
no.
went right into dating.
Pretty much, except
Yeah.
we were both convinced that it was a summer romance because I had to go back to school and he had graduated and was hoping to get hired and did.
Yep.
But so we spent most of the summer being like, this is a summer
It's like
romance.
a summer
This is just
summer
fun.
camp. Summer
This
camp.
is
Yeah.
fun.
And that
We're in
literally
New
was
York.
one of the first times in my life. I'm not a planner, right?
No.
I don't know how many of us guys really are. Some are
Not-
better than others,
yeah.
but that was like one of the first times in my life that I remember when I moved out to New York to do this internship. I was going to be responsible, right? And I was moving there to work and start my career and
Be focused.
be focused and do all the right things. And then like 2 days later, I met her, and all the focus was out the window.
All
Mhm.
gone.
Yeah, he
Oh,
tried
all
to
good.
give me that speech about a week
Yeah.
in, and I went, oh, okay.
Like the hubris of youth when we're like, I'm going to go start my dream job right out of college.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, and then I went back to school, and we were very quickly like, oh no, this is like legit.
I gotta ask, what was like your plan? You said you had like a plan. You were gonna go move somewhere and do something. What was your plan back then?
Well, it wasn't an extensive plan, but
It was getting hired.
it was getting it was to go to New
Exactly.
York
Not
and to
fucking
be
up so much that you get fired.
to not be focused on going to the bars and chasing girls, and
Okay,
I was
fair.
going to go there and work.
Yep.
And I don't know, try and impress my general manager and
I mean, it worked. You weren't chasing girls.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
did. I
He was
did.
not-
It probably
I
actually
literally
is the only thing that kept you focused in
Yeah.
that sense. It was like you didn't have
But
any other distractions.
I drove out there in my car with all my stuff, and that was it. I was like, all right, we're gonna take a run at this New York thing, and
Yep, and then he got hired.
yeah. And then by the end of the internship, I got offered an assistant general manager position
Okay,
to stay at the club where we worked
Yep.
and work under the general manager.
nice.
Yeah.
And then how much did you just have 1 year left, or?
So I had a year and a half left because I did a study abroad. So studied abroad, long distance, which he came over. Our very first vacation together was to Paris, which set the bar real high.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, studied abroad and then came back, actually did a second internship at the club. So at one point he was my boss.
That's where the scandal comes in.
So we had to keep it real quiet.
Oh, you didn't go to HR and fill out all the
Well,
paperwork.
no, everyone in the knew, but
Yeah.
the membership didn't know.
Got it. Okay.
And then I got hired at a different club out in New York in the Hamptons. And so moved out there, but we were still about an hour and a half apart out in the out in New York. So,
Depending on traffic.
Yeah, depending on traffic. Yeah.
This time of year, I imagine, at the Hamptons. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Big time.
And then what the heck brought you guys to Minnesota?
Halfway between Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa.
Right, yeah. Well, I had started.
And her sister
My
lives
sister,
here,
my sister lives in the cities. I had actually started at U of M and then transferred to Stout because of their hospitality management program when I decided that I wanted to do events, and transferred for that. But decided we knew we wanted to be near a big city because after being in New York, we're like, we cannot go back to like this big of a city. And we're like Chicago or Minneapolis, and we had been away from family for 4+ years out there, and we're like, let's do Minneapolis so that we're closer. We're kind of divvying up where we go, and family was here and friends were here and all that.
Is Minneapolis a big city?
Well,
Big-ish.
compared to where we both grew up.
Sure,
So
You couldn't go work at
It was like
Wisconsin
that,
Dells
or
after that.
Chicago. We weren't going to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was
Big enough.
The closest to our families that we're like, okay, that it has enough.
Yeah.
To offer the sports teams and restaurants and all this stuff.
The
So
sports
Yeah, go
team
ahead.
in the country,
which are you referring
Yeah, which
to,
one?
sir?
The Lynx, obviously.
Vikings.
We won't.
Sir,
We've had this conversation
I know.
before.
That's yes.
You've seen my
I am-
office, right?
Yeah, I've seen your office. That's why I'm saying it.
What is it?
He's a big
Kansas
Chiefs
City,
fan.
yeah. Oh, got it,
I'm
got
a
it.
Packer
Okay.
fan, so
Okay.
So a lot of my family's from Kansas.
Okay.
So I grew up watching the Chiefs.
the viewership just went way down. Just kidding.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. No, like she said Packers
I
and
did.
Kansas
I
City, fucking Vikings.
Everyone's like, is this a sports podcast? No, I'm just kidding.
It could be.
It could be. We could talk
Did you
sports.
both go to hospitality, like Stout for hospitality management? Is that the program?
Well,
I went there. So they had at that time a new program, Golf Enterprise Management,
Oh,
which was it's
Fancy.
basically a kind of a business degree with a focus on running golf courses. So you could like be the GM of a big golf resort or something
Yeah.
like that, Because I
Stout
grew up
is
playing
so
golf, and
interesting.
it's one of my favorite hobbies.
I feel like at the time when I was getting out of college and like started doing events and stuff, and at one point, like a few years after I graduated, I was trying to find like more programs because there just like wasn't that much. I don't know when
No.
did you guys graduate? I'm not sure, but
yeah.
like I graduated in 2003,
I was 2008.
Yeah.
2007.
2005.
so it was like
No,
Seven.
7.
somewhere in there.
Well, somewhere I was. Yeah.
So there was not a lot of in-person stuff at that point, and like Stout is one that would always come up as an option, and I was like, I'm not gonna go just like
Trust me. I started at U of M, and then I was like, I'm going to transfer to Stout. I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin, so like the motto was like, when in doubt, go to Stout.
Yeah.
Stout, the easy way out. And I'm
Right.
like, here's this overachiever,
Can't get in there or go to Eau Claire.
whatever. And I'm like, I'm
wait,
not.
can't
Can't get in there or go to Eau Claire.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm from Minnesota. I was not aware
Yeah.
of this.
I love
anthem.
that. I love those.
Right.
But yeah, I was at U of M and discovered I was in journalism.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm way too nice for that. But I had discovered that event planning was like an actual career
Yeah.
through like public relations and stuff like that, and started looking into it. And it was basically I could either go into Carlson and
Do,
try
like,
or try
business.
and do
Yeah.
business, but it was going to take me 2 more years to do that with all the prereqs I had to have. Or I saw hospitality management was an option, and so talked to people at Stout. They were going to let me like tailor my whole degree and whatever. Ended up in the very first event planning class that was ever offered at Stout,
Cool.
and now it's an entire major. So it's cool to see where it's come.
Oh, gee.
The OG, I was
Yeah.
in the original class. Yeah,
That's awesome.
of event planning.
I feel like there was a time frame where like Star Awards, we would bring in interns or bring in students from Stout, like because it was one of the only programs around, and like
Yeah.
that and there are a few more local ones now. I don't think there's any that have like a specific event management one, but at one time Bethel was offering like in their communications department like an event management specialty.
Yep.
And I actually went and spoke to some of the classes there for a while about it. but I don't know of any other ones. But it was definitely one of like the first that was. I mean, it was like either you went to Stout or you went to Vegas. You know,
Yes,
like
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did Mike go? The other
Cornell.
Cornell has a huge hospitality program as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I would honestly highly recommend Stout. It's kind of like a very practical degree, no matter which route you go there. And I don't know, they have really great connections. There's like a 98% placement out of college.
What are the classes like? Like what's the curriculum?
Yeah, I mean, we took everything from, we had to take basics like accounting 101 and 102,
which is great for running like a
econ
business
and
and certain things.
We had to take econ, all of that. But then they had like, we had to take wine and food pairing. Darn.
Terrible.
But
Awesome.
like QFP, quality food something, I don't know, processes, like first in, first out, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, we had to take tourism classes. So it's just kind of like a well-rounded hospitality, but then business-focused degree. So I'm a fan.
Seems like it served you well. So
It
that's
has.
great.
I feel like I'm one of the few people that actually utilize my
I was gonna say
degree.
it actually like set you up to have a career.
It kind of did. But I think the other thing is they are really good about staying engaged with alumni, and alumni are really strong about their internship program. They require an internship, and it has to be a paid internship, which I think is huge for the hospitality industry. And then so all these alumni come back and they have really great opportunities to like pull kids in all directions all over the country. And
did they place you both of you in that internship program?
yeah, well, we had to apply
like
and
almost
I
like an
basically
internship job fair kind of situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I basically harassed my way into the job.
Yeah. Were you in CMAA?
No, I was not.
So that's how I got connected with it.
Club Managers Association.
It's Club Managers Association of America, which was just
No, I was not.
an elective group. I don't know exactly how you explain it, but
I'm
I think
pretty sure Christy
it was like
Altendorf was the
hospitality
president there at
grads
one
that were
point.
interested in like the
CMAA.
private
Yeah,
club
she got a
world.
I was gonna say it reminds me of like a country club
If
manager
you like,
type
if
of
you
thing.
love to like interlock in, right, or any other private club you'd been to before in the past, I think it attracted a lot of kids that liked that environment, that were hospitality grads that would be the food and beverage manager or the general manager or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I joined that group, and that's how I got connected with the club that we worked at out in New York.
It's like the FFA for club managers,
club
right?
managers,
Instead of the Future Farmers of America.
It's like a huge nationwide group.
Network,
Huge network that basically just backfeeds potential club managers,
That's cool, though.
all over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then out in New York, there's this one manager that was our manager, Randy Reuter, who basically has taken Stout grads out there for 30 years now. I mean,
Probably
a long
30 years
time.
now. Yeah.
And so there's this whole network out in New York of managers
Of Stout.
from
That's
Stout.
so cool.
Yeah.
And all Midwesterners. And
A
they
little
love us out
funnel
there
out
because
there.
we're so nice.
Nice and hardworking.
Yeah,
Yes.
hardworking.
Yeah.
We don't demand a lot of money and,
We're just
extra
happy
benefits.
to be out
or-
there.
Yeah.
We're so happy to be
Yeah.
here.
But yeah.
Randy is the general manager, or what is his
He
Yeah,
was,
she's the
I think,
matchmaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So then from school, how do you start getting into events?
Yeah, so the club that I got hired at was originally saying they were a brand new club in the Hamptons, very high end clientele. They had just opened the clubhouse the year before I started. And so they were like, we don't know how many events we're going to have, but we need somebody to run them. So you can do this and this, And I was like, okay. And then we had we had all sorts of opportunities pop up, but like I got to work with the PGA on different, tournaments and things. And then also, of course, like membership was like, well, this clubhouse is amazing, so we want to do stuff. So I kind of helped start in a way their event program, but got to see a lot from the venue side of things. And I really feel like that was so beneficial to understanding what venue people go through when I wanted to go into events. So, but it was always the goal to have my own business. And so we were out there. I was in that position for about 3 seasons. And then we decided to move back because we were tired of working 80-plus hour weeks and living on property and just never, we never had a break. So, moved back to Minnesota And then I actually was the executive director of the Muscular Dystrophy Association, the Minneapolis district, for about 2 years. Doing that and doing nonprofit events. I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I had
Interesting.
such high-end clientele out there, no budgets, no whatever. Like, I need to be grounded for a little while. And so went to the nonprofit world.
Like no budgets, but like
very
Different
different,
spectrums
no
of
budgets.
Yeah, totally.
We literally don't have a budget.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's zero.
Yeah.
Go raise money.
Go raise money for
Yeah.
this. And so learned a lot from that. And then we were doing that while we got married. But very, I don't know, unsmartly. I don't know. I like quit that job about 3 months before we got married, I think, with the intention of like, I'm just going full in on my starting an event planning company.
What year is that?
2012.
2012, yeah.
Yep.
So 2012, like right into
Yep.
like your own business.
My own business.
while you're planning.
While I was planning
Whoa.
my wedding. So I got a lot of the like, oh, you're planning your own wedding. You think you're going to be a wedding planner. And I'm like, no. I've got a background.
Yeah, I
Like,
went
I
to school
legit
for
have
it.
I legit have
Yeah.
a background.
Yeah.
And then had like, I don't know, 3 weddings that year, like super small. The next year grew. The next year grew. By 2014, I had a team. I think by 2015, I had like 30 weddings that year. And I remember being like, wow, you know, but with a team of planners, but I was doing all of the planning and then them like execute. And then we had kids in there.
Somewhere in that
3
mix.
of them.
Yeah.
We had 3 kids in 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. And some of that was planned, some of that was not.
Uh-oh.
You're letting Justin run the ship on that.
Well, no, not really, because he was in the middle of building a real estate
Was that tanker?
career. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
it
doing real
was.
estate.
Yeah, what did you come back and do when you guys came back to Minnesota?
So when we came back, I was kind of burnt out on hospitality, all the hours and everything. So
Yeah.
I totally switched gears and I went to work for a company called Metro Sales out of Bloomington, selling Ricoh copiers.
Okay,
Very
I know. I've
necessary
actually
thing.
worked with them before.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think I have
yeah.
too, actually.
Yeah,
They're the
totally.
largest independent distributor in the nation of Ricoh brand copiers. And
'Cause
so
what's the other one that is
Loeffler.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's their
it's
big
always
competitor.
between Metro and
Right,
Loeffler.
right across the interstate too. We would always refer to them as those clowns over at Loeffler.
Like shooting paintball guns.
Yo,
across the
yeah, just my manager hated them.
What is Rico?
It's a printer brand.
It's a
The
brand
big-
of multifunctional copier print.
Oh, so it's that big tall one.
Like a
big
tall
one,
one.
Got
yeah.
it.
Like, is
Yeah,
that what
they're
we
like-
yeah.
They're like
Aria?
80
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
They're
sure.
$80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
Yeah,
C,
you're gonna have to
we had a
convince me hard about
C300.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna-
Most people would lease it for like 5 years, so the
Oh,
payment
okay,
would be like
so you can lease it
$200
up.
bucks.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah, I think we had a C300 at Aria.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Is that a brand? Or is it
MPC
a model?
300. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
the one.
that's a color. The C is color, and the 30 is 30 pages per minute.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so like an MPC 4500 or 450 would be 45 pages per minute. Yeah, so
The knowledge. The
Interessante.
random knowledge.
I mean,
I've always
like
I've
that
always
is
loved
interesting.
technology.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like into the technology piece of it, but I was new biz sales, so I was just out beating the streets.
Well, and like learning about
It
printing is like
sucked.
could
I
be
mean,
its
it was
own business
tough.
too. Like
yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
there's something there.
there's it's good. Like there's some good knowledge. We have
Yeah.
a Ricoh
We do.
copier in our office now. You know.
The one you grabbed on the way out, or not? Just kidding.
It's funny. A guy that I worked with, this is back in 2012.
He's
He's
still there.
there.
Oh, for sure.
But
So
he's,
I feel like
he's
that's
a
making
lifer
bank. It's,
kind of business.
it's survival
Yeah.
of the fittest.
Yeah.
If you can make it that long,
yeah, you build up that
you're
portfolio
gonna
of
have
clients.
all the good accounts. You're gonna have no
Yeah.
problem selling. He probably makes $200,000 a year
Wow.
leasing
Damn.
copiers.
Right.
Yeah,
Just like
seriously.
you need more
Right?
toner. Just
Yeah, That's it.
Exactly.
So
Honestly, though, I've been like struggling to get I got new cartridges for my printer in my house and I can't get them to work. And I was like, I would pay $200 a month to not have to deal with that. At this
Right.
point, it's so fucking annoying.
sure.
I know.
yeah, if you have
I
any issues,
spend
you just
about
call up
200
service and they come and they
God,
fix your
yeah.
machine. Yeah,
Yeah, I have
doesn't
like a
sound bad,
shitty
actually.
little Hewlett, or not Hewlett.
Hewlett Packard.
Yeah.
Is it a
Yeah,
printer too?
HP.
Yeah, HP. Yeah,
Yeah.
HP. I was like, fuck, I haven't had a Hewlett Packard. I feel like that's a 2000, early 2000s thing. But I spend every time that I have to get new ink, it's like at least $150, and it'll be like once every, because you don't use it, it like just
like evaporates.
Yeah,
it's gone.
I swear to God,
Yeah.
they're poking holes in it or something.
Right.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I just
but-
can't get mine to work. I literally was, I don't know, the other day I was ready to throw it out the window. I was just like, fuck this stupid printer.
I have the
Yeah, they
same
suck.
one that they have at Urban Daisy, and it's funny. Alex, remember we were there shooting Star Wars, and
Yeah.
she couldn't get that printer to work forever. And I was like, oh, I have the same one. I'm gonna get it to work.
Oh yeah.
For nothing, we could get it. And then I was there like a month ago with Crave for an event, and I was like, hey, can you print something for me? She's like, I don't know how to work our printer. So it was like a year and a half later, and they still can't work the damn
This
thing.
is why people spend $200
Yes.
a month. This is it.
Sometimes you literally just gotta smack them.
Oh my God.
Like,
Smack
This
that.
is literally like, can you please put in a
Yeah,
call to them and be
right.
like, you need to sponsor Event Life
Smack that.
Podcast
Right.
because they will give you business because we will talk about
We're
terrible
gonna talk
printers.
about your
Yeah.
printer.
Yeah.
Break to the Metro sales
Right.
commercial.
I don't know what it is, but I used to have problems with printers 24/7. The printer that we got off of, like, the guy was, I would think we were buying something, and then he was just like, do you want this printer? I was just like, does it work? He's like, yeah. I'm
Of like Facebook Marketplace.
yeah. And
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
okay, sure. And I took it, and it has been working perfectly nonstop.
my
I haven't
God.
touched it, haven't moved it. I'm like,
Knock on
this,
wood.
I'm
Yeah.
never doing
Tomorrow.
anything with this thing.
Tomorrow
This is
it's going
amazing.
down.
Can't
So
wait to
awesome.
hear how it breaks tomorrow for
Yeah,
you.
literally tomorrow
Also,
it's
that's
gonna
the first time I've
explode.
heard HP. What is it?
It'll burn your house down for the
Hewlett-Packard.
second time.
Hewlett Packard?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the
Never
second
knew
time.
that. I was just like, what's Hewlett Packard? HP.
Uh-huh.
That's what that is?
Uh-huh.
That's why I was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember, and I thought it was Hewlett Packard, but I felt like that's like an old box computer
Yeah.
because that's like what I had
Yeah.
back then.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyways, that's there's my tangents. You got it going on the printers. That's good shit.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's what you were doing, and then how did you phase into events?
Well,
There
so
was a
then
whole journey.
Oh, 'cause
still.
you were
we're
into
a
'em
long ways
already.
For me, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the midnight.
So then
come
I
strike
decided
with
that
me.
I wanted to get my
Oh,
real
yeah.
estate license
Okay.
because we're both entrepreneurs at heart.
We are.
Right?
Yep.
I do not enjoy working for somebody else, and so just I don't know exactly
No, he came.
how specifically I got interested in real estate.
Yeah.
But I ultimately just decided to get my license, and that was a couple years after I'd been at Metro Sales, and I was still there.
Yep.
And then started working on getting my license, and then got my license, and then left Metro Sales.
Right. Probably also dumbly because
Yeah,
we both were basically building businesses at the same time.
kind of at the same time. She was like
a year.
maybe a year ahead of me.
you.
But does that
But then-
force you to be like, we gotta fucking make this happen?
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, we
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah,
we
we-
actually sold our house at one point to get the equity out of it because we were like, all right, we need to do this, and
We were pretty much broke.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Oh,
were
yeah.
I've
like,
been on the verge of
shit,
that a
we
few
gotta-
times.
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, should I sell
I feel like
my
I'm
house?
That's
I'm
basically
always
where you're
riding
like,
that
you're
ledge.
just pushing
Yeah.
in your chips,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Going all in.
And then we started having kids in the middle of it, of all the things. And
Yeah.
yes, he definitely got pulled into events with me, by the way. You were like midnight teardowns, like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been my assistant on multiple things. There was one time I thought he was gonna have to be a lead planner. That was scary.
Yeah, we wouldn't want that. I will tear some shit down. I'll help
Yeah.
set up.
I don't know. I, feel
I
like
would
for the
prefer
right
to set up.
client-
I don't like to have to come down at midnight and tear shit down, but
No, he does not.
I'm
but
not going to be the planner.
no. But yeah. But then we moved again. We also in the midst of this we flipped houses.
Okay, yep.
Like not just our own. We
Right.
had like a side business where we flipped
You
houses.
flipped the okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
we flipped
which
3 houses in
I think
about a 2-year span.
added gray hair and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
all
a lot
the
of work.
things.
Yeah.
It was
I
it
helped
was
a friend
yeah.
do that during COVID when I had nothing else to do, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, "Yeah, I'll help you renovate this house to sell it. Sure, why not?" And like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were working with a general contractor, so he was managing most of that process. So we met him on our second house
Yep.
on Cleveland, and then we found another house in St. Paul, Highland Park area,
Yep.
and
And he-
then
He like left.
mid-October, second house, he up and left in the middle of the night
With
I don't know, $50,000 or
things.
$60,000
Uh-huh.
of unfinished work.
Yep.
And our last house, it was like a really cold October.
Yeah.
The entire boiler system froze.
Uh-huh.
All
Yep.
the pipes, all the boilers cracked.
Yeah.
Water
was-
everywhere. I mean, it was like
Needless to say, it was very stressful.
Did he leave the country? Like, where
No,
did he
they-
go?
No, he left.
Yeah.
He went to Florida and he
Close
started
enough.
selling fresh seafood out of the back of his truck.
No
We
joke.
found him on Facebook. He had a business page on Facebook. So then our partners actually sued him, took him to court,
He's like,
and won a judgment against him.
Wow.
And I don't know if we've.
Yeah.
Have you ever saw
I don't
any
know
of
if
it?
we've
Oh, no.
collected money.
No.
Probably not.
Like, he
but
just sends you a
obviously,
case
but-
of seafood once a month or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, he's like selling
That'd
Not
be
even
nice.
pick
that,
and peel
yeah.
shrimp out of the
Oh,
back
yeah.
of his
What
freaking
the
truck.
hell? What did he do with
Yeah.
his $50,000?
Oh, my God.
I ran
Bizarre.
off
I get
of it.
mad even.
But yeah,
it, but-
don't get him started on that tangent. But yeah, so we had that in the middle of it. Then
Yeah.
baby number 3 was on the way, and we looked at each other and we went, one of us needs to get a job because this is not gonna work. And then he went to work at Cintas actually, so he
Yeah,
learned a little
Cintas.
bit about the linen industry at that
Yeah,
point.
I worked for them
kinda
for a
my
short
break
bit,
in
too.
the- Yeah, linens. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I worked for Cintas for a short bit.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
What
Yep.
did you sell there? Did you sell, or were you in the?
I was like a service sales rep.
Were you?
Yep.
Okay.
So I worked there for a month.
Yeah, I was about to say that was like the
Were you
month.
A minute.
selling, or your service? Okay.
You're like
So you were
going
you
place to place, like replenishing linens and shit.
Yeah.
And like
Uh-huh.
driving in a truck and like
Yeah.
eating your lunch on the go.
So you're
and-
RSR. You're driving a truck.
yeah, SSR.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yep.
So I was selling New Biz.
Yep.
Again.
Yep.
Which
Did that.
location? Because they have a few.
It was the old G&K in St. Paul because
Okay.
Cintas bought G&K services.
Yep.
So it was the one right there in like downtown St. Paul on the north side of 94.
Copy. Yeah, I did the
Yeah.
one right off of 94 in Minneapolis there. 55 and
Oh,
94.
yeah. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a G&K, I think.
Yeah, right off
Facility
Washington.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that used
Yeah.
to be G&K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
What a
did that,
fucking
and
shit
then
show.
eventually,
Oh my God! I think
They're
about
so
that.
corporate though.
Oh, yes.
They're a machine.
It's a
It's,
it's corporate
unbelievable.
monstrosity. Yeah.
What they.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was out selling 5-year contracts
Well, what's
for
funny?
their services to mom and pop businesses for like rugs.
right.
Yeah. No.
You know,
What's
like,
funny though
it's-
too
it's
is like
no.
if people don't re-sign, they'll just keep servicing
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like they have a whole board on the wall.
auto renew.
Yeah, no,
like,
like not even like
your
outstanding
prices are
contracts,
going
and it's
up.
like for 3 years they haven't re-signed, but they just keep servicing them, and
Cinema bill.
it's just like
Yeah.
it's like it's interesting. So
Yeah.
I fought with
That'd be
them to
hard.
get out of their contract actually and successfully did.
you
so.
did? Wow,
Good job.
they've.
Good
Way to
job.
go.
I
Yeah.
can believe that. I can believe that.
I had,
but yeah, but then
I'm
he
a
ended
bully.
up at Thomson Reuters selling
Yeah.
SEO and digital marketing services.
you're an SEO guy too?
Yeah.
Shit,
Not my specialty, but definitely interested in it.
yeah.
nice.
Like I've always been
What's your
interested in
top
that.
2 tips, bro?
Have an SEO guy. for
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
That's
Good
number
job.
1
Good
and
job.
Yeah,
number
have,
2.
have an
Number 2.
SEO guy and
Number 2 is look at number 1 again.
Yeah.
yeah, look at number 1
Paid
again.
really
and
well
don't,
for the SEO
Don't
guy.
ignore your website, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Don't ignore your
Like
website.
don't like not update it and stuff. You
update
mean?
it constantly. If
Yeah.
add as many keywords as you can. Write some blog posts,
Which
You
we're
know.
really bad at.
but have a
But-
focus about it. Whatever you're going after.
Yeah.
Event planning, event rentals, Minneapolis, that kind of stuff. It's got to be focused. So,
Yeah. But he was doing that. Then
yeah. So I did that for a couple years. I do things for a couple years and then I get this itch to,
yeah.
You're like I could do something else.
I'm like,
Yeah.
The job equivalent of sitting down for more
yeah,
than
I
20
can't sit
minutes.
down
like
for 20 minutes. 20
Exactly.
minutes sitting is like 2 years in a
in a job. Yeah.
But
then,
But then
we had
COVID
lunch
hit.
with
well,
Don.
yeah, COVID hit.
Oh,
And I guess in the midst of this, I had at one point had pulled way back on doing events, like with 3 kids, 3 and
Yeah.
under.
100%. You have
Yeah.
to.
So
Yeah.
I had
And
just
it was
gone to
our
referral
focus
base.
was kind of on my real estate business.
Yeah.
and growing that
I just
because
was
that
like,
was
well,
going to be the driver.
I'll pull back. And then I hit 2019, and was like, this is for the birds. I can't do this. I am way too entrepreneurial focused. I can't, God bless all the stay-at-home moms out there, but I had 12 hours worth of childcare a week and was trying to still do events and run, do all the things. And I was like, this is for the birds. I can't do this. So I looked at him in 2019 and I was like, I got to ramp up. I got to ramp up hard enough that we can afford all of the daycare for all 3 children because dear God. And then I ramped up. And then COVID hit.
Ramped you right back down.
And I was like, oh no.
Ooh, yeah.
They're like, slow down there, Buster.
Exactly. But honestly, it gave me a lot of time to like take a step back and like actually put the pieces in place that I had always thought I wanted to put into place. Things like, I don't know, employee contracts and good contracts and
yes.
all the things.
Yeah.
We all got to take a little bit of a break to do the things that we put off all the time and like think about the things that we think we want to think about.
Right.
I feel like those were the good things that came out of it.
It was. Yeah.
There was other stuff too, but
there was other stuff too, but yeah, I feel like it actually like set me up for being able to go. And then during COVID, because everybody had to let their employees go, is when I started working with Don Jensen, who owned Linen Effects. And we were replanning, I don't know, a whole lot of weddings, right? Rescheduling all of that. And so that kind of led to Don and I having a friendship of like, we're in this together, buddy. We're the only two.
Yeah, I remember
doing
Don.
this.
yeah.
I've never met Don, I don't think, but it was a lot of emails here and there, like,
Uh-huh.
because they were trying to do
Probably short ones.
a linen program.
He hated emailing.
He does send really short
Yeah.
emails. I never
Very
noticed that,
short.
right?
Oh, yeah.
We like, yes.
Yes,
done.
right.
Yes,
He
exactly.
might have called me.
Sure,
actually,
come on
a couple
by.
times
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He'd rather pick up the phone
Yeah, I
and
think
talk.
he called me a
Yeah.
few times
He's
too.
more of an in-person, on the phone kind of guy.
Yes,
yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that started the friendship with Don, and then he started making comments about like when we were in, we're in design meetings or whatever with clients or whatever virtually or what it may be. He started making comments like, yeah, whoever buys Linen Effects,
So
He's
you're like,
very subtle
oh.
too, so I'm sure that was exactly.
Well, I came home and I said to him, I was like, I think Don is trying to like hint that I should buy Linen Effects, which sounded ridiculous to me. Because I was like, who buys Linen Effects?
right.
It's Linen
it's
Effects.
huge. It's a institution, right?
Right?
Yeah.
It's been around
It's a
since
staple.
1991. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, their logo looked like that
It did.
Yeah.
originally.
It
did.
No fault to their own.
It was a
mean,
classic.
It was.
It was
a
classic.
vintage.
It
Yeah.
was vintage. It's one of those
It was
things.
classic, not timeless, but classic.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
It reached its time, but
It did.
but
Like,
it was very
avocado
classic.
stoves are also classic
Yeah.
and vintage.
Right, yes, but not timeless.
But yeah, I came home and I told him that. I was like, I think Don is hinting that I should buy Linen Effects. And I said it jokingly, and he's like, I think we should explore that. And I went, it's Linen Effects. You don't buy Linen Effects. Like that's.
And I had no frame of reference.
No.
I had no clue.
But that's always- that's
I'm like,
good.
That's great though that you're like,
Yeah.
let's
Uh-huh.
explore it because
Yeah.
I think that's
all I'm hearing is like, well, the owner of the company that we could potentially buy literally is hinting to you that he like might sell you his company.
Yeah, he's not even
That's a big
hinting. He's
deal.
just outright telling
That's
you.
that's a big challenge. Like, how do you?
Yeah.
Also, I think they
How
were
do you get
established in
in that
1990, according to his shirt.
1990.
I'm sorry. You're right. Shoot.
Not
Just
91.
fact checking you.
Yes, right.
On the shirt. It's right
Sorry,
there.
honey.
Yes, you were right. But yeah, to me, my brain goes to, but how?
Right.
Right? Like the logistical.
That's a big undertaking, and it feels like, how could you possibly
When you think
do
like,
that?
Yeah.
how are we going to come up with the money for this?
Right.
We have no idea what it's worth. It
Yeah.
could be 10 million. It could be 1 million.
Like we had no idea.
Either way, we don't have millions of dollars.
Yeah. And so that's where my brain went. I was like, how is this even realistic? And the wonderful thing about Justin over here is that he doesn't see that. He's just like, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Whereas
let's at least see what the deal is, and then
Yeah.
we can
I want to
see
see
if
this
we
guy
can
is
make it work.
serious. I got to meet him. I'd never
Yeah.
even met him.
and
So tell me that story.
well,
Yeah.
so I emailed Don and was like, okay, you mentioned this at our last meeting, that you're I think the title was Selling Linen Effects. And I was like, I'm just curious, you mentioned this. Are you actually selling, like, were you actually hinting that I should buy this or, whatever. And Don is not one to email long emails, and he was usually fairly lengthy in like the amount of time it took to hear back from him, especially during that time because he had no employees there. And within a minute, I had an email that was like,
One word.
we should have lunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
let's do
was like,
lunch.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. So we set up lunch. This was in February of 2022.
Where'd you eat?
Good Earth.
Good Earth in Roseville.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's
'Cause
not there anymore.
things were closed
Yeah.
in Minneapolis.
That's
So
a
we
great
can't go into
restaurant, too.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's turning into a.
Applebee's or something.
No, actually, no, it's a good one, but I'm totally blanking on.
I worked
a
at
Centro.
Applebee's actually for a couple
Centro.
years.
Okay.
I went there like
Oh, I
last
know
week
exactly
with my
what
kids.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every
36.
time I go home.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
What's it gonna be?
Centro.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the taco spot.
Yeah.
I can't
I like
complain.
tacos.
I
I'm
can't
a
complain
taco
about that, but I did
connoisseur.
like Good Earth. They had
Yeah.
good tea. Anyways, so we met for lunch in February, and I remember on the way there,
February 2020.
2022.
2022.
At this point,
Okay, yeah, I'm like 2 years
Or-
off in my mind.
well, no, I mean it just was
All of it's a blur.
all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that 2 years is
well,
literally a blur.
and that was
100%.
Write it off.
yeah, right.
Yeah. She
Um,
down.
But yeah, we met in February 2022. We were on our way to lunch, and I remember looking at him and being like, "This is almost like silly to be going to lunch. Why are we doing this?" And as we left lunch, I looked at him and I was like, "I think we might be looking at buying linen effects. Like, holy crap,
Yeah.
you know?"
Yeah, he was serious. I mean,
And
Tell me,
He'd
can
been
you
looking for a little while too, I think.
can
He
you
had been.
Because
tell?
I talked to other people about potentially
Yes.
buying, or not that I was going to, but that they
Yes.
were thinking about it, but it just
Yeah.
like never worked out.
yeah,
which
he'd
is-
had it like available or
Yeah.
whatever for a few years.
but not super publicly. Like he
Nope.
kind of brought it up to people that he thought were a
Correct.
good fit, which I think is a smart way to
That's
do it.
awesome.
It was his baby.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't going
He
to release
wasn't gonna
that.
send
to
his
just-
That's
legacy
smart.
off to just anybody. No, he
Mm-mm.
wasn't going to sell it to some corporate overlord
Nope.
for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about how that conversation went, and then like what was it that you saw in it where you're like, I think we're buying linen effects?
Well, I think the conversation was as much an interview for him
To see if
we
you were qualified
a
on
good
this.
fit.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he I don't know. He just kind of asked us a bunch of questions, and then we were asking him, you know, about the business, and just kind of, it wasn't even revenue driven. It was just like, how does it function? How does it work? Like, what are the what's the background? And he has such a passion for it that I think he like actually that's what sold me. I was like, okay, this could be pretty awesome. But he also, that same conversation, he looked at me and he goes, you know, you're going to have to give up your event planning business, right? And I went, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And he's like, well, you're going to have to, because nobody's going to want to
Interesting.
rent
yeah.
from a competitor.
Oh.
And a lot of
planners.
planners,
Yeah,
right?
Planners.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I guess I
Right?
hadn't thought of that angle, but I guess
Yeah.
I can see where he's
See,
coming
I didn't
from.
honestly coming into it. I didn't really buy into that either.
No.
I was like,
I
no,
think-
I mean,
But I think also,
I guess, mate, you could have some of that. Obviously, you can have some
Yeah.
haters out there potentially.
Sure.
It's competition.
and if
That's
he's in the
natural.
linen
but at
business-
the end of the day, it's like, well, Linen Effects is still separate, and we have great service and great products.
Yeah.
You know,
I
Yeah.
think that there's
they're still gonna need that and want that,
100%.
Right.
regardless. And you know,
and
she has an
especially if you
amazing
you have-
reputation.
and you
so-
have
Oh,
a
yeah.
good eye. You have like you're bringing in new and interesting things all the time, and like if anything,
she knows what planners want.
exactly. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. It's like if anything,
What
you
the
have
market wants.
a better eye to like what they
Yeah.
want, what they need, and like how they need it to happen than somebody
Yeah.
else might. And I almost think that it would be like safer. And I think that
Right.
sometimes with that, like we have clients sometimes who ask us, because like BPS, we work with lots of venues, right? And they're like, well, how do we know that you're going to work as hard for us, or not just like send people to another venue or stuff like that? And it's like, there's enough business for everyone,
There
first
is.
of all. And like maybe
100%.
sometimes not, it doesn't feel like it, and maybe sometimes it feels scant or whatever. But like every venue is different, and every wedding or every event is different. So like what they need, if you have it, why would you not want to give it to them, right? Like
Well,
doesn't make sense.
and I think Don came up in an era where event planning was scarce. It wasn't
Yes.
what it is now, right? Where
That's true.
like it, I mean, when I even started my business, I spent most of my consultations convincing people why they needed a planner. That doesn't happen anymore. It's people know they need it, but I think there was less business for event planners, so they were much more competitive. Whereas now, like our market here, we are very collaborative, and I'm friends with a lot of planners. You know,
No, it's definitely a different era. I think that that's totally fair.
You got
Yeah.
you got venues pushing that they're requiring a
Correct.
planner, so
Right.
that
Yeah.
helps the cause there with not having to sell that.
yeah, yep. So I kind of disregarded that piece of advice from him, but but
No,
then
that's a super interesting piece, though. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up. That's cool.
But yeah, so that was February. In my brain, I went, well, we're buying a really huge business. This is going to take like a year, right? Like that's where my brain
He's
went.
like, here's the keys. See ya.
Well, we met,
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you got the money?
yeah, we pretty much met with a broker, his broker that was selling it. That led us to like meeting with like, I don't know, 3-4 banks that like, you know.
Doing like the forensic accounting kind of stuff.
Yeah,
like
which
finding
is
valuation.
basically
and all
just like
that.
getting a financial enema, FYI,
Yep.
of your
Yep.
entire
Sure.
life.
Yep.
And then we ended up closing in May. Like I was like,
Dang, that's fast.
So wait,
right?
February,
3 months.
and then May you closed.
We did.
So
And
it moved
The whole
quickly.
process not much different than like buying a house.
Buying a
for the
house.
first time.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, it's
It's
really
an
not.
SBA loan, so it's guaranteed by the federal
Right.
government. So
Yeah.
there's more hoops and
Yeah.
paperwork in that regard. So that makes it a little more lengthy, but
But also, it's better protected.
it's better
Correct.
protected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
we're
more
in a better
concerned with your
spot.
success and all that. So.
But
yeah,
the
we
process
just were
was
like, what? You know?
I think people go. I like. I grew up not in like a family that owned businesses and things like that,
neither.
right? Yeah, and I think if you don't come from that background, it's sometimes hard to conceptualize that like all people do is get loans, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you just are like, oh, I
Uh-huh.
have to have
Borrow
millions
money.
of dollars,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Like, no, if you have a solid business plan and you have a solid like call to action of what you're going to do and like a product that you can show data that it will work, people will give you money.
Yes.
And it's
Right.
very startling to realize that when
It
you're
is.
like someone who didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
I just remember this moment when I was like, oh shit, that's all. This is what they do? I thought that you had to have the money in your pocket. I had no
Right.
idea.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
can borrow most of it.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, we both grew up in households that were not
Yeah.
entrepreneurial at all. And
Yeah.
so it was how we got these genes, I don't know, but it's been interesting to navigate that and be like, oh, this is what happened. And
Right.
and I do not want to make it sound like it was easy. It was not easy. It was very stressful. It was a very stressful 3
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, a lot of.
And then it's like you get the keys and you're like, oh yay,
Yeah.
we have the keys. And then you're like,
Oh no.
all the rest of the stress.
What was
gotta
it
figure this
like
out.
taking that over then initially? Like, was the staff super receptive to you guys taking over, or did like they lose people because Don was not there, or anything like that? Any drama, or was it pretty smooth?
I think it was
I think
unbelievable smooth.
Yeah. I
We
was
didn't
gonna
lose,
say,
we didn't
it
lose
felt
a
like
single
I
employee.
barely
thought
a
I
ripple.
recognized a few when I was at the
Yeah.
Effects.
Oh
the
no,
one guy.
they've got. you've
I
got
reckon
We've
Recognize
legends
retained.
there. Yeah.
We've actually only grown. We've only hired more employees.
I
So-
think that's our biggest success with taking over Linden Effects is that we did not lose a single employee. Like nobody left
Awesome.
because
Yeah.
we took over. And we came in, we told them flat out, we're like, we are here to learn from you first. Before we make any changes. So we spent that first year learning how they do things, why they do things, absorbing all of the information that we can from everybody from the dishwasher who's been there 24 years to Big Mike who's been there 25.
That's
like,
the guy I
Mike.
recognize. I know
Yes.
Big Mike.
Yeah.
Yay.
Everybody knows.
Everybody
I
knows
love-
Big
He knows
Mike.
every loading dock in the Twin Cities.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
legit.
Yeah, he does.
Every single one.
Yep.
Everywhere he goes, somebody's like hollering across the room, "Hey, Big
Big
Mike,
Mike."
what's
Yeah.
up?" He's like,
He's cool. He's
Yeah.
like, what up, dude?
Yeah.
yeah, he's
But-
dope.
That's
But
pretty
yeah.
good impersonation.
Yeah,
of Big
I
Mike.
think that was
That's a
pretty
good
much fun.
impersonation.
Yeah, he's dope.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's the mentality we came in with.
Yeah.
And then, the second year, because we're already 2 years in, the second year is kind of when we started being like, I think we could do this way,
Like, let's streamline this.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think they knew, loved, and trusted us by then. So we had that rapport and they were more receptive to it. We've gotten a little pushback on certain things, but then they also
The building is impeccably clean, and it looks very organized.
Thank you. I would like Heidi to hear that. One of my gals is
Yeah.
like, I saw cobwebs, and I'm like, stop
Oh
it.
man, wasn't it super clean, Alex?
Yeah, it's really.
I was like, damn.
I kind of miss it already.
Yeah.
You're welcome
Wow.
back anytime.
Oh, thank you.
And
No,
the
it is
GM,
actually
Kurt,
beautiful.
who's also been there 25 years.
Yeah.
He runs a tight ship.
Yeah.
So
Kurt, I
he's
think I know Kurt.
got them like
Oh yeah.
they're on point.
Yep.
So
He was like the right hand man kind of for Don originally.
Oh yeah.
And then
I mean,
he's still with you guys.
he
Yeah.
is. He's,
That's awesome.
He's retiring in a year.
he's retiring next May.
Oh.
Yep.
That's a good heads up though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We've had. I mean, he told us that when we bought the place.
Bought it? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that was
nice.
always
So we had
kinda
a
in the works.
deadline
Yeah.
with him, but he was like, yeah, it was his baby too. He's been there for 25 years, so he
Celebrated it.
and he was really the
Nice.
like numbers
Yeah.
guy.
Okay.
So Don was the creative guy Kurt was the reason that he still has a business.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like he was
for
the
sure.
The
he was
yin
the
and the
numbers.
yang,
Oh
yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
yin and yang.
And Don stayed on with you
Opposite.
guys for a little while, but has he stopped? Has he?
Yeah, he
Totally.
officially retired last
Totally done.
November.
Good for him.
So,
He
yes.
did it very quietly, I feel like.
Intentionally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He
of
would
course.
he
Irish
would, he
goodbye.
looked at me
He
and
is,
he was like,
yeah,
do
total.
not
He does
plan
not want
anything.
to
And
work.
here I was like planning stuff behind the scenes, like
Right?
we're gonna do this big brunch and whatever, and he's like, don't do anything. I was like, okay.
I'm kind of sad he didn't do anything.
I know. I would have, but he would have hated it.
Yeah, he would
So
have. Yeah,
it was
yeah.
one of those things of respecting
Yeah,
his
he would have
wishes.
legit
He is
hated
kind
it,
of
so
a
it's
bit
like, all
behind
right,
the
I'm
scenes
not gonna do
guy.
it
Even
then.
He
though
was.
he's like very social, he is a behind the scenes guy.
He is.
He is
Yep.
very much.
Yep. But
That's amazing.
But yeah.
That's a really smooth takeover. And so like
It was-
nowadays it's
It was smooth.
you did a little stuff, you changed the logo a little bit, updated some things. That's a
Branding,
timeless logo now.
Timeless.
Thank
That's
you.
timeless.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Have
well,
you
And
like?
classic. Timeless. And
Have you felt like it has had an impact, like your event planning side of things on the Linden Effect side, or like vice versa?
Yeah, I mean, I think the the biggest thing is that I'm more in control now, which I love.
Yeah.
Like,
Fair.
I mean, the rental side can be really.
now I own 2 businesses.
Now I can decide
I'm
what I
gonna
want
own
to
them
rent
all.
and then rent it
Yes.
from myself.
Right,
Correct.
And
yes.
buy it.
Yep.
Yes.
No, legit.
Yeah,
like
that's-
we.
Yeah, for sure. The acquisition of new product.
When I have an idea that I like want to pitch to somebody, I'm
Yeah.
like, I've already done the research. I know how much it costs. I know, you know what
Yeah.
it's like. I can bring that in
Right.
and be like, da 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 da.
And it's
like,
always
you know,
like it's always good stuff that we know is gonna
It's it's
It's
gonna
gonna
sell.
it's gonna
Yeah.
sell, and other people are gonna want it, and other
Uh-huh.
planners are gonna want it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's like
You've had some
It's
really
just a
beautiful
perfect,
additions to your inventory.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
combination of
Symbiosis.
yeah, perfect
Yeah,
symbiosis.
that's the word.
of-
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so there's that side. Like I just feel like I control more of the day by being on that production side as well. Both with like I get to say what time I want them to show up. I don't get a window anymore. I'm like, no, I need you here at 10.
Yeah. That is nice.
And my staff is like, okay, you
As
know.
someone who had to be at a space this weekend on Sunday from noon until 12, it
Yep.
was very nice to be able to control that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But also I just feel like
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
I wasn't gonna question it. I just thought you meant
That
midnight.
would
but
actually be
yeah.
a great window.
Yeah.
9 to
12
12.
hours.
Yeah, 1
Um,
hour, that's what you got. Or
yeah.
1 minute.
But I don't know. I just feel like it's been a very, symbiotic relationship of I mean, we always had a design focus anyway, so this just kind of fed into it.
Cool. I love that.
Do you have like a way that you bring like the Linden Effects in like as leverage? Is that a thing that you use like as a selling point for Jenna Culley events now? Like because you can kind of gift them maybe a thing here or there. Do you do any of that? But
I honestly try to keep the two businesses
super separate.
sort of. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, they get a certain discount and stuff on our services for, rentals
Okay, so
and
Jenna
whatnot.
Culley, and then they get a discount on Linden Effects stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. But
But you can
Smart,
also get that
smart.
if you're just like a planner,
planner.
who works with
Yep.
a regular, with a
a
Right.
regular planner,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
get that.
As
I
a venue,
think-
I had some.
That's cool.
Yes.
I often could call and get a discount on things
Yeah,
for
we have
clients
lots
too.
of
Correct.
preferred
Yes, we have lots
partners,
of
you know.
that. So for me, honestly, what we say is like we control that piece. That's
Yeah,
our biggest
that's
selling
awesome.
point, and it's like I also can control what comes in. So if we want something special, like we can order it, we can do
or
it.
if it's
we
a
can
weekend that like if we're getting ready to black it out because we got too many events,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. I just like we literally this year put in all of the JCE events into the
Oh yeah.
Linden Effects calendar, and we're like, these are most likely going to happen. So
Right.
we've already blocked it off, even though they haven't come in to pick out their stuff. So there's that benefit of just like, we've got it,
Being able
for
to
you.
get kind of ahead of that curve. Yeah.
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 That's smart.
because unfortunately we don't have a limitless inventory
No.
Or
of,
limitless
of
trust.
anything
Space,
really, or
right.
space where it's like
Or
I mean
staff.
eventually you're like
Staff for that matter.
you're like
Yeah.
sold out of everything,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. We've had more
Just- it
blackout
just-
weekends this year than
Yeah.
they've had in their history.
That's
So,
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like,
So you think that's so in the 2 years when you took it over, how much has it grown? Like the business, do you think? it's gone up or
Yeah, it's gone up.
Okay.
I mean, so we've kind of, I'm on the financial side. That's kind of, so I'm,
That's why I looked at him. I'm like, I
yeah,
don't know.
financial,
Make it pretty. Yeah.
bookkeeping, accounts payable, accounts
yin and the
receivable,
yang.
Yeah, exactly.
HR, that kind of stuff. But we're averaging over the last 2 years, probably 10 to 12% growth each year.
It's
Yeah.
good.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
year over year, the last 2 years. So, I mean, I think some of that is coming out of the COVID
Sure.
fog, but then it's also like the new website,
Yeah.
you know, and the focused SEO, right? And the
Well, and
the
It's
new products.
amazing how that
and,
works.
You know,
Yeah.
all that stuff I think has really helped to
It
like
was a facelift.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think people are like excited. In the
Oh,
industry.
I think
People
they
are
really
excited
are.
yeah,
about it,
absolutely.
so.
And you're keeping yourself like top of mind for people, you know, like, you know, it's half of the game sometimes I think in events is that we all have really short attention spans, and it's like, what's the person that I'm going to refer for this thing? I don't know, the last person that I saw that does it, probably. Like, you know, just
Right.
there's a lot of qualified people that can do it. It's a matter of like me thinking of you in that moment when I need to give a referral. Sometimes it's half the battle.
Yep.
And then sometimes it's also having specialty things that they can't just get anywhere, which I think you've also brought in a lot of good inventory like that too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and I honestly think being a planner has helped because I have,
See firsthand what people want,
Yeah.
what doesn't exist that should.
well, and I've reached out to other planners and been like, hey, what do you guys want? We'll bring it in for you, you know, but just let us know like what you're seeing and what you have been dying to get in. And I think that's been exciting to them too, because they're like, oh my God, like I get to pick somebody, you
Right.
know?
build some brand loyalty too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the
I'm
other
not
thing
sure
is,
if that was always Don's approach necessarily, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, Don was amazing, and
yeah.
but I think that he was more.
he just had his own taste.
He had his own
Like
taste.
super
yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe not what everybody
Right.
always in the industry necessarily wanted.
Looking for,
Well, and that always
Yeah.
changes too a little
Yeah.
It changes.
And you have to be. I mean, you do have to be cycling things in more than you used to. Like
it changes.
you have to have like
yeah.
classic timeless things, but there's like the trends are happening so much
Right.
faster. And I feel like if you came up during the time frame when it was a little bit more about having staples and about
Yes.
having classic things, like being able to be reactive to those trends and do it in a thoughtful way of like, you know, where are the places where we can incorporate this color blocking thing or this whatever the trend is that I probably am not even aware of yet that's
Yeah.
on TikTok, like whatever the case may be.
disco balls.
Yes. Oh
We
my
just
gosh.
brought in a whole bunch of disco balls.
That's a huge booming thing.
Exactly. I know.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
there's
from my house because I have 35 disco balls in my house. And Cassine and I joke all the time that like the one thing that I would really, really enjoy is doing a rental company and should never, ever be allowed to because I would buy everything.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like I would have a real problem.
I feel like you'd want to buy everything just because you're like, oh, I could sell this and I can
Let's
sell it
see.
for
You
this
do.
and I can make
It's
this
a
much
huge
profit.
trap.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I
I,
mean,
don't know
it's
how you can stay out of
could
that.
spend an endless amount of money on buying shit
Yep. And I
because
think
everybody wants
everybody wants something.
something different.
And I
Right.
think our
It's-
first
I
year,
mean, it's
we almost
huge
fell
learning
into that
curve.
trap, like
Yeah.
of like, I want this and I want this,
Yeah,
and this is
and
pretty,
you
and
have
this
a
is gonna
limited
sell, and I know it's
storage,
gonna sell,
and
and
you
da,
have-
da, 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 da.
yeah, I mean,
like-
our warehouse is full.
It's not
It is
I saw
huge.
some
Full.
rooms.
It's big,
I
but
saw
it's not
some
huge.
rooms.
Yeah.
They're at,
That's walking space.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
aisles
Who
are a
needs to
little
walk?
wide. You got
It's
room.
right.
nice.
We're gonna have
Bring
to
it
put down
on.
yellow tape where people are allowed to walk and
Yeah.
stand and like.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the second year we pulled back and I got a little bit more intentional
Yeah.
about let's think about this. How you know,
Yeah.
how is this going to work? So there's definitely been a learning curve the first couple of years, but
I
yeah.
would have a hard time.
Yeah.
I actually bought all of those disco balls from Ryan Hansen when he was selling off a bunch of his inventory. And because I have,
I should have cuz
I mean, I have a auction sort of obsession, actually. It's kind of a problem. There's a bunch of stuff in my car right now. David from Machine Shop, he came to the Lee event yesterday. He goes, I think I parked next to your car. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he goes, actually, I know I did because it was a Mazda with a bunch of boxes in it. So I know it was your car. And I was like, rude but true.
Oh.
Right.
So when he auctioned off a bunch of his stuff, like I caught wind of it at some point and then was like obsessively following all of them. And there was like 15 auctions. It was insane.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I bought all those disco balls.
I love it. I love it. Well, now I know if I need backup, where to go.
I literally have. They're all the small ones, but I do have a
That's
bunch.
fine.
I have a
We
lot.
need a lot of.
I have a lot.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's where the one behind you
Yeah,
came from.
exactly.
I'm pretty sure.
So
Yeah.
we need
That's
for your short one.
It's a 4-inch disco ball, in
Yes.
case you were
I
wondering.
have
There's a
4
little
and 6 inch
egg
ones.
shaker
Ooh.
next to it.
Yeah,
I also
nice.
have one of the disco helmets.
Oh,
Yes. So if you need to rent that, I
Okay.
got one.
Oh, I might
Yeah.
just for fun.
Yeah.
I had a question about your inventory. So like, what was the cataloging like for that? Like, is it all on the website? All of it?
Yeah.
It is all on the
Is there
website.
a booklet as well?
No,
So it's all digital now. Yeah, it makes
it's all
sense.
digital now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because
We
you got a
do-
massive
well-
inventory,
Well, we have a wonderful warehouse manager.
and she just
Hey, Melissa.
photographs everything and puts it up.
Well,
or
we have a couple people that work, Emily and Katie, that do all of the like photography and uploading on the website. But Melissa and her crew does all of the counting. And literally sometimes if we're about to rent out, like let's say we've got, I don't know, 29 of this one particular candelabra, and there's a client that wants all 29 of them, we will call down and be like, hey, can you double count and make sure we've got not only the candelabra, but all of the pieces that go into it, all of that. And so we're like recounting all the time because something might have gone missing at
Right.
whatever
Yep.
set. And, you know, if
And
we're
stuff breaks.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it is
Yeah.
like a constant,
Constant maintenance.
that's why I'm asking about that inventory,
Yeah.
because I know
Yeah.
it's like you get
Yeah.
a couple hundred napkins to a wedding, and you're gonna get 198 of them back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And
Two
one's
of them
just
are gonna be
underneath
on
the
a
chair somewhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
One of them's in a lady's purse with a dessert
Yep.
wrapped.
Yeah.
We'll never get it back.
You'll never get it
right?
back.
But we'll
Yep.
get, we have
Yep.
to charge the customer for it.
Yeah. So
Obviously, if anything that doesn't come back.
our
but-
staff literally counts before they put things into bags, like on site. So if they're on site, they're sitting there counting the linens, counting the napkins. So we know when it comes into the warehouse, like we're missing XYZ, the warehouse recounts it, double checks that they didn't send, something out incorrectly. But yeah, they're constantly counting.
I mean, on site is smart too. I never really thought about that, but it's like, yeah, when you count it on site and know you have 198 of them, you can do another sweep and keep looking for those last two.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's funny too, because it's like the number of times after an event, I'll get like a message from somebody being like, we're missing 4 teaspoons, or whatever. And I was like, they're not here. And then I go in the kitchen, I'm like, they are here, actually. I
They're
got 'em."
somewhere.
It's always
They're
the
always
gold
somewhere.
forks.
Flatware.
Yeah, the
Yep.
fork.
Solid fork.
But
We're
those
missing-
definitely people are stealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. No, but yes, if venue people out there, if you can just make one more sweep, it'd be really helpful.
We have a lost and found machine shop if you
Yeah.
want to just stop by there. Or I don't work there
Yep.
anymore, but we used to. They probably still
Okay,
do.
no, you know where it all goes? Speaking of Cintas, I went up, so where all the laundry gets brought up and it goes to this upstairs spot. This is the one off of 55 and 94.
Yeah.
All the linen gets bagged, right? And then they hang it up and it goes on this conveyor belt upstairs, and it gets all dumped out. And they have bins in bins in bins in bins. I'm not even kidding, of
Other people's
silverware.
linens.
No, flatware.
Oh, they gets wrapped up in linens.
And they don't
accidentally?
give it back to anybody or let them come get it.
Bastards.
They're like, we just throw it in this thing, and then
And then
I was
what?
like, holy shit! There's like 10 events worth of flatware just sitting there. I saw it.
Yeah.
I was
Lost
like,
luggage.
oh my
You should be able
god!
to go and buy
Right.
it for like $100.
was
Do you
crazy.
know,
Yeah.
do you know how much flatware costs? It's so
Call
expensive.
Cintas because they have
Seriously.
half your shit.
Do a hostile
Yeah, they-
negotiation with them.
Yeah,
Like,
you
there
should.
go.
I believe it.
Uh-huh.
Or just be
You've
like,
gotta have it
I'll
in
buy
there,
your
right?
Yeah.
old shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Somebody.
they got a lot of it.
That's so
I do
funny.
know.
That's so funny.
When like if you have spaces where like you have like a semi-exclusive catering list or whatever, and there's caterers working in different spaces, like equipment from venues will like end up at other venues all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And at one point, Kelly and I, when I was at Machine Shop, she was at Aria, we were doing like a hostage negotiation with like, we both had something of each other's or whatever. And she brought a tray jack to my birthday party wrapped up for me. Like,
Oh
as a
my gosh, that's
present.
hilarious.
I was like, thank you.
Like, thank you. I really
Yeah.
wanted that back, actually.
I was on a Crave event the other day, and there's a oval tray somebody was carrying, and they took something off it, and right underneath it was an Aria logo. And I was like, son of a bitch, that was our tray.
Yes.
Yep. Of course, they always steal it.
Uh-huh.
That's great. What do you think, like, as far as like event planning goes, like, what are the things that make, like, for a new person, like if you were talking to a newbie, which I guess I kind of am, like for a planner, what are some of the key things that like make a good like event planner?
A good event planner.
Yeah. for me and homeboy over here.
Yeah. I think a good event planner. I thought you were going to say makes a good event. I'm like, "Oh,
Well,
no, I'm
maybe
just
that after. Let's go there after. Yeah.
I think to be a good event planner, staying calm under pressure is probably the number one thing. Like, you have all the things coming at you at once. I mean, really, truly, you're the glue in some ways. You know, I feel like as an event planner, to be a good event planner, I have to have both a happy client and happy vendors. Like, I am the middleman.
Yep.
That's how I see it. We are here to facilitate that these people all do a great job for this person, but this person also doesn't drive these people crazy. And that everything comes together in how everyone envisions it. So I think staying calm under pressure and being able to kind of appease both parties. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've calmed down a client about a vendor or a vendor about a client.
Vice versa. Yep.
Constantly. I'm constantly shielding both parties from each other. I mean, I just am.
Yeah.
And so I think, I don't know, being able to kind of diffuse any sort of issues, having that calming presence, which, thinking back to therapy, now I understand why I'm so good at this. It's what I grew up doing.
I know.
Yeah,
I
you
do tell
grew
my
up
parents all the
doing
time.
that.
I was like, you gave me all the conflict mediation skills I could ever need when you got
Ollie.
divorced. Thank you for that. Yeah. That was my first training. So,
But I think that obviously, I mean, the obvious one is like being organized, you know. But I consider myself a type A-B person. Like, I am type A about certain things, but I'm also chill about a lot of, I can stay calm. I don't have to have everything in this neat, tidy, you know, there can be some gray and some
imperfections.
Yeah.
I would say I'm like a perfectionist tempered by like a lot of therapy and like self-work. Like, of just like not everything can be perfect.
How
It's
the world
okay.
really works.
Yeah, and just like some things are going to be imperfect, but also reminding myself that like what you see is imperfect, the client or the guest doesn't always even know that there was another option. And still it can be just as perfect for them.
Exactly.
So
yeah. But I think those are two of the main things, like staying calm and diffusing a situation. And
what is your client process of like qualifying? Like, do you have a process? Like, because I know, like, we were talking to Whitney.
Yeah, actually,
it's
interesting. Like, if there's a difference between like qualifying clients from a linen or like a rental perspective versus a planning perspective. Because with planning, I think you can and should be a lot more particular because it's a very intimate relationship. But do you ever, on the rental side of things, qualify people and be like, you know what, we don't have that available? Like,
yes. Yeah. Very quietly, yes, we do that.
You don't have to tell us exactly what you say.
No, I mean, I think there's a lot less qualifying on the rental side. I think, though, if we go down a path where we're like, we can't deliver for this person. I mean,
literally can deliver,
but but figuratively, where we're just like, we are never going to succeed making this person happy. You know, that becomes a date that's no longer available, or it becomes a situation. I mean, we have said to people, like, I just think I think where it comes in the most is they're like, well, this person is quoting us this and you're quoting us this. We need you to match that. And I'm like, we don't, this is what our price is. I think then you should go over here. That's a good, then that seems like the right fit for you. And that's okay. Yeah. There's the right fit for everybody. But yeah, I think it happens way less on the rental side than I think it does on the planning side. And
I think that's a really hard lesson for people to learn, especially when you're young, or not even just young, but like getting started, getting into the game, and like you want to take everything that comes your way, and then you get to a point where you have to be able to say, like, I don't think we're the right fit for you. Yeah. And like, that's okay. There's something else out there that is. And it's the most empowering feeling in the world when you finally do it. Like, this isn't going to work. You're not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. There's a chance we won't get paid. Like, all the things.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Yeah.
I get asked often, I'm like, do you work with bridezillas all the time? And I was like, no, I really don't. But it's because we have a vetting process. Right. I mean, every once in a while, an occasional one sneaks through, and then they're the good stories over cocktails. But, but like, I mean, when it comes to the event planning side, I think there's multiple things. one, there are a lot of great event planners here in the Twin Cities.
Mhm.
There truly are.
Yeah.
And there's the right fit for each client. And our team is not always the right fit. You know, there are clients where I can literally read their intake and I'm like, oh, they need to be with this person.
Yeah.
Like, that is not our client. They need to be with them. And we'll sometimes be like, sorry, we're not available. You should go talk to them.
Yep.
Mhm.
We do that all the time. But I think for us, you know, we tend to be a little bit more design focused, partially because of the rentals, right? Like it's a very symbiotic relationship. We do very few, wedding management or day ofs, we do a handful, a year, but
Yeah. These are so hard though.
our team does not do well with honestly, it's not I talk about control a lot. Maybe I got my next
You're kind of a
therapy
control
topic.
freak,
we got a
right?
topic for you
You're
next.
kind of a control freak.
Apparently I am, but no, I just think we like to have more ownership of that event.
You just walk into so many unknowns, and it's like you can't even ask the right questions beforehand to find out the unknowns because they are that unknown.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like, it's just because there's so many coming at you from all the different vendors, all the clients, the things that it's like the DIY things or the.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I started, that's all I did all the DIY
Exhausting.
weddings.
Oh,
and
my
it's
mom
like
and my sister.
I held all the boxes.
Gonna put all the flowers
And
out. And,
they tell
my
you
dad's
this,
I had
and then
that.
this shows up.
Yeah,
It's
we had one. I won't say the names, but I really want to because it's like a kind of a funny sounding thing. But they were going to do a balloon arch, and the one of the bridesmaids was going to do it, and they set up this like
those
thing.
are so easy.
It was like this stupid plastic thing with like a pole on it, and they were like you fill them up with water to keep them weighted down, just like something
I
you
know
buy on
exactly
maybe like
what
the
you're
cheapest end of
Amazon.
Etsy,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Amazon,
yeah.
yeah.
You buy them on
Temu
And
Amazon.
it's
or
like the
something.
it's like the
Yeah.
tent thing where they
Yep.
have the pulley thing inside, and then you like put them together, and then it like makes a thing, and it bends, and then it literally sat there all night, no balloons on it. They never got to it. They just said fuck it.
Because they don't understand how long it takes.
And then
so long.
Kelly and I went and like took pictures in front of it though. We're like, check out this balloon arch.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
badass.
We
It's
had
like-
fun with it, and it was just hilarious.
That's a huge shout out to like Girl Friday for
real though.
like
Look, even as like
they
a
do.
professional, like my friend, I went out to Chicago to help her with her daughter's graduation, her son and daughter's graduation party, and she had bought a helium tank, and I'm not accustomed to doing helium balloons. That is not a thing that I'm used to.
You guys just inhaled them on.
Yeah, right?
No, we didn't
Yeah.
do that. But we were up blowing up balloons until like 2:00 in the morning or something because I was like, I'm just gonna do them tonight. I flew in that night. I got in at like midnight, and then I was like, I'm just gonna stay up and blow up balloons because I don't want to deal with this tomorrow because I know it's so time consuming and tiring. And I didn't know when they're in regular latex balloons, the float time for it is only like 4 hours. So the next morning I got up, came downstairs, and they were
they're
all on the ground.
Oh no.
And I was like, what happened?
They were happy when I went to bed.
I know, I was so confused. And then she got and I was like, well, I only need like a regular air machine. But then by then we had like come up with an idea with them floating, and she wanted it. So we got another tank. And then as I was putting the first one on, I saw on the tank where it said the float hours are like 4 hours. And I was like,
no.
Oh shit.
that's it.
That's the thing.
Huge lesson learned. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't either.
Yeah, I don't know. So we don't do a lot of those anymore, DIY weddings or anything like that. So we do a lot of like design focused, and we just tend to have a more elevated clientele. Like they want a certain level of service or design or whatever it is. And so we can tell pretty fast from the inquiry if it's like, I just don't think we're the right fit for you. We also work with a certain caliber of vendors, right?
Mhm. And which requires a certain budget.
It does.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does.
It's just
And
the
we just
reality.
don't
You gotta have
have
the
the
budget.
resources.
Yeah.
We don't have the same connections anymore
Right.
to those discounted, newer vendor, like we just
No, I get
don't.
it.
I
Yeah.
used to. That's what I
Right.
used to live in.
Well, and also though that sometimes you know that the peril and the headaches that can come with some of that. Like if you're working, so you get often what you pay for when it comes to that. I think like the entire concept of like bridezillas to me really like whenever I know that like there's the TV shows and stuff which I cannot watch any of that stuff, but
Nope.
the idea of it, the practice of it, I guess, or whatever, comes from 99% of the time misaligned communication.
Correct.
It's literally like over promising and under delivering.
Yep.
Right. Or like not educating your client on what it is that you're actually giving them well enough so that they understand. Like, I just saw like on some Facebook group about someone who was talking about a venue, and they were like, do you think we need to hire a day of coordinator? Because like the coordinator at the venue isn't doing all these things that we thought they would. And like a couple people did chime in and were like, well, that's a venue coordinator and their job is very different from a day of coordinator. They are not there to do all those things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if people, I was surprised that it feels like people are much more educated about that these days, but it may just be that I've like, I live in a bubble a little bit of a world where like, why wouldn't you know that kind of? To see it like written out in that way, I was like, well, yeah, duh, you know?
This is that burden of knowledge.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Drew was just talking about that. Like, you know too much. And so you're just like, obviously everyone knows that a venue coordinator is different than an event or like than a planner.
I actually can't tell you how many times we have that conversation in our team meetings of like, you know, our, like the planners get frustrated because they're answering the same questions over and over, you know, or whatever it is. And I'm like, gotta remember, you know, like this is their first time, their whatever. Don't get me wrong, I have those moments too.
Oh
where
yeah,
I'm like,
we all
but
do. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's, you have to remind yourself like often people only do this once or
maybe twice.
Maybe twice. Some people 3 times. Like, let's not judge. But it's you. If you don't do it all the time, you're not living in that world. That like all of this is not like second nature. So that burden of knowledge does really come into play a lot.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
100%. I wanted to ask you about the event you just did in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin.
Because it had a drone show.
It did have a drone show.
And that's an up and coming, I think, huge thing. You've seen it on social media, like obviously, like we've all kind of seen that already, except Patrick doesn't have social media. What do you watch?
Patrick?
YouTube?
He's like, I read books, I touch grass.
Plays games, he just listens to our audio.
To be grounded.
He's just podcasts only. He just listens to us.
It's all Family Guy.
South Park.
American Dad.
But I wanted to hear a little bit about that because that's such a cool thing. Like drones are a huge thing now for like just events, photography, videography, all that stuff. It's like a huge staple of the industry now, and it's not going anywhere.
No.
And in fact, it's getting bigger. And so like the next thing right now, it's these crazy ass drone shows. So I want to hear about it.
Yeah. Well, it was actually, I can't take credit for like coming up with the idea. It was the client that was like, can we look into getting a drone show at the end of that? Because we were talking about like fireworks or something, right? Some big finale.
What kind of event was it for? Like a social wedding? Or?
No, it was an 80th anniversary for a company, Bauer Built.
Okay. Cool.
So they, just corporate.
I like that it was like in place of fireworks.
Yeah,
it's kind of like there's like competition with that. It's kind of that's cool.
And then I found out they actually do a lot in conjunction with fireworks shows, and I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, we just have to make sure they're evenly spaced. I was like, fair,
careful,
fair, but yeah, it was honestly kind of a fascinating process because at first when the client asked me about it, I was like, sure, I'll look into this. And then I got pricing back, and I was like, "There's no way." Like,
where do you go for
cheap.
How do you begin that search?
Oh,
there's a couple companies recently.
What happened was, I was like,
your phone was listening to you, and then there was like a thing.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get on Instagram, and you're.
That's what I'm saying. It's
scrolling.
like right there.
Oh, look at this, a drone show company.
I saw that there was a drone show at the Twins Stadium.
Oh yeah.
And I texted Tim Miller from Generation Now and was like, I know you were the DJ that night. Who was the drone show? And he's like, I don't know. Let me look into it. And then he's like, hey, it was Sky Elements. And I went, okay, great. And so then I looked up Sky Elements. I did Google other things, but they seem to be the leader, like the, you know.
I mean, if they're at the stadium, like they're at least trusted and have the insurance.
And that's
they're
the
on America's
hard
Got
thing.
Talent this year.
They are.
Yeah.
They
got
just
a golden buzzer from Simon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
I think they
Which
just did a
is-
presentation at the MNFEA conference, Minnesota Festival and
could have
Events.
been.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was very cool. And I was like, ooh. And then I looked up how much it cost. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Well, that's the
not
thing. It's like
cheap.
it's hard to recommend a vendor that you've never worked with
Yeah.
before, especially something that they're spending that much money on. And so I did a lot of research on like, okay, this is the most reputable company I can find. And I know somebody who just saw one, but
ballpark, what are we talking?
well, they have different options. Of course.
Where's the lowest?
Yeah.
25
so
grand is the lowest.
Yeah, 100 drones for
That's the
25,000, 200 for 50, 300 for 75. And so I presented all 3 options to my client, and they were like, let's go for the 300. And I was like,
What?
okay. I was like, and I cannot tell you how many
Sick.
emails that I was like, I want to
Are
remind
we
you, this
sure?
is not coming out of the original budget that you gave me.
This is above and beyond
This
it.
is beyond the budget. We cannot. This is not included.
Yeah, this is not
I'm
in
just
the scope.
reminding you as I send you this contract. This
Look.
is not coming out of the original budget. We cannot cut anywhere else. Like I was like very adamant.
I guess
$75K on
If
drones.
I had a business
Wow.
that'd been around for
Yeah.
80 years, I suppose I might be willing to drop $75K on like
and
a
it's
really
about what was it, like
Yeah.
a 13-minute show?
Yeah, it was about a 13-minute
But
show.
baller.
13
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah.
And then it was really cool because my client was pretty laid back, honestly, about the whole event. And so we're on this, call trying to design the show. And she's pretty much like, I don't know, Jenna, what do you think? And luckily I had thought about this
Yeah.
because I knew, I was like, ugh. And we were doing, since it was an 80th anniversary, it was an 80s themed event.
fun.
And so I kind of got to conceptualize the show. Like on the other side,
Yeah.
Sky Elements was like, this'll
Yeah.
work, this won't, whatever. But, we got to do some like 80s themed things. And like we did a, where it was a boombox, right? But they're a tire company. And so I was like, can we have the boombox, the like speakers turn
The
into
tires.
tires?
Mhm.
Fun.
And so, stuff like
designer
that.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, well, that's kind of fun. So we get
That's
to-
way fun. God
Yeah.
damn, that's cool. So tell me, you were talking earlier too about the grass was too long.
grass
You got to
is
go
too
into
long.
some of those details because I think that's fun.
Right.
Well, I mean, you always have things that pop up with events, right? Like things that you
Mm-hmm.
literally can't foresee. But we had multiple days of rain, including the day of the event, which not only made the grass grow, but also made everything muddy. So 45 minutes before the event starts, we're cutting out a permanent memorial bench. I'm sorry, whoever that memorial bench was, but the club members were like,
This is
we'll
like
just
those-
tell them it needed to be repaired.
This is like
that's-
those metal ones, like
Uh-huh.
all metal, and then like wood slat
Yep.
seat.
The
And
wood
then
slat
had
ones,
like
yeah.
names,
Yeah.
the plaques on
Concrete
in
it.
there.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and they literally
But
had to
we had to cut it off
Saw it off
because
right at the-
where
yeah.
the food trucks were supposed to come in was all mud, and we already had one get stuck. And then so we were like, oh my gosh, we gotta do this, and the club was willing to do it because we're in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, like they were
and
just
they're
I mean,
like,
that's
well, they paid
amazing.
75 G's on the drones. Like,
yeah,
Yeah, the
We'll
bench has gotta
replace the
go.
bench.
Yeah, the
Well,
bench, we'll put
yeah.
it back.
yeah. The
Yeah,
owner
there, it'll
of
be
the
fine.
company was a member at the.
Oh, well then in
You
that
know.
case.
Yeah.
So I think they were like, well,
sky's the limit,
Yeah.
Mr.
clearly.
Bauer.
Yeah. I
He's
was
like,
I'm
I
gonna
know,
name-
I know who this is. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
some people.
exactly. So we had a guy out there doing that 45 minutes before the show. Then the drone show got there, and they knew their entry point, which was the same one as the food trucks.
It's all muddied.
It's all muddied. They
Yep.
drove in. They got stuck. I had to call a tow
Oh.
truck to pull them.
So what's
Them
their
out.
like? They came in like just in a box truck.
They came in. Yeah, pretty much.
They take up a lot, you need a lot of staging area for
Oh
them.
yeah, we had
Huge
a
staging area,
60
yeah.
by 30, I think it was, area for just the drones, and then they needed a whole nother section for their like setup
Tech,
crew.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the landing area, and then
Yep.
they had a huge section for their setup crew. How many? Do you remember how many people like ran
Yeah,
that?
there was about eight of them. 2 real like tech people, and then about 6 that were
Just
out checking
setting
drones.
out 300 drones.
Yeah. And they came in stacks. It was really cool. Like they were like stacked in these like acrylic boxes that they put out in and they had to be put out in a certain order because they had to be in a certain section, and they took off at certain times. Like you had layers of drones taking
That's
off.
so cool.
It was really cool. But yeah, they got stuck, so we had to do that. Then they get set up, and they're like, Jenna, we have a problem. We're at this point an hour and a half into the event, and the drone show was supposed to happen about 3 hours after this, right? And they're like, the grass is too long. Can you get a lawnmower out here? And I literally started Googling, like, how far am I from a Menards
Ace
or
Hardware,
Home Depot?
yeah.
Like
Right.
anything, any hardware store. And I'm like, I won't make it back in time. Like, we
No.
can't. And I have to pick whatever.
Get
So-
gas and all.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was a club, right? Like a golf club?
Well, no, it was the Durand Rod and Gun Club.
Oh, it's a gun club.
They're
The
less
Rod-
concerned about the
Rod
grass
and Gun
there.
Club.
Less
Yeah,
concerned
they're
about
shooting
that
clay
grass there.
pigeons. So yeah, they have a lawn mowing company that comes out, so they don't have one on site, right? But the bad thing about being in a small town, right, is that you're in the middle of nowhere. But the good thing about being in a small town is that everybody is willing to
everybody.
help.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went up to one of the members that had been super helpful and was like, Greg, I need some help.
I need a lawnmower.
I need a
Greg.
lawnmower. And he was like, okay, let me make a call. And the same guy that had cut the bench out brings back his lawnmower.
Oh my God.
And then the
He
drone.
probably felt great about himself.
He
though.
did.
yeah.
And
Same.
he got
He
free
was living
beer
his
because
best
we were like,
life.
go drink as much as you want
Yeah,
while we cut the lawn.
he will be dining out on this story for the rest of his life.
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
100%.
that's
Yes.
epic.
He's going to be very proud of himself,
Yes.
which he should be.
He should
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
He saved the day. But yeah, so then the drone show people were very gracious and they cut. He's like, I'll cut it myself. I just need the lawnmower. And then they're still out there with scissors cutting around the propellers to make sure that they can all take off.
How big were the drones roughly? Like a
Like
minis?
a-
They're decent size.
Maybe like 12 by
Like a
12.
shoeboxy.
Yeah, 12 by 12.
That's a
Yeah.
It's a good
average
size
size.
drone.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good size.
Yeah. But it was cool.
That's way cool.
It was,
And then how was the show? Like just
It was
spectacular?
great.
Just
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot. It felt a lot closer than I thought. Like I was expecting a fireworks show where things are like
They're
further
farther
out.
Way far.
And
You're
you're
like,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
oh, that's like right there, you know?
Cool. I also really like, fireworks are very cool. They are not always great for the environment.
Mhm.
They are sometimes really traumatizing for certain groups,
Yep.
four-legged and two-legged.
Yep.
And this is like an interesting alternative that eliminates some of those issues. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how good I don't know if they're good for the environment. I have no idea. But at least from a PTSD standpoint,
Yeah.
a lot less traumatizing, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just kind of cool to see how things were animated. Like we'd roller skates that like rolled back and forth. So I could see, you can almost tell it's in its infancy. And I'm like, just wait a few
Yeah.
years because it'll be like
Oh, I
full
think the stuff they'll be
storylines and
doing
you know what I
will
mean?
be-
Like,
I mean,
it'll
they
be
did.
mind blowing.
Didn't they do like an enormous one at like the Olympics in China?
Mhm.
Yeah.
they did. Yeah. Yeah. But-
It's amazing. I know you don't know about like the tech side of it, but damn, I want to know about some of that. I know you guys.
Well, we just need to
Well,
whoever
they-
your
they-
contact
how
was.
they
we'll
move.
have
Yeah,
them
I
on
actually,
here.
we're
They
gonna have to
move
reach
in,
out
like,
to them.
Perfect harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the shapes
Yeah.
are perfect. I mean, everything.
It's just crazy.
Do they have to worry
It's
about like
nuts.
birds running into them?
I need to know
There's
how
so
to do
much
that.
room for error.
Yeah.
300 drones just out flying around.
Yeah.
You would just
Well,
think.
they're so synced though.
Well,
Yeah.
That's the
that's
thing.
what
Like
that's
they,
the
they
amazing
can't.
It's a
part. They're so
program.
synced.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because we went through the design process. Like we talked about it. Then they came up with like basically like a rough draft of like design. Then they were like, any changes
Like on a computer, they
on
show
a
you.
computer.
They're-
Well,
so it's like a rendering
first
of
it's,
it.
First, it's just renderings of the like images.
like storyboarding it.
Mhm. And then we went through like some changes with that. And then after that, they're like, okay, once we go to process, like where we're going to show you the actual like fake drone show, nothing can change. So you have to be very happy with these images. And I was like, then why are you showing us? Because we can't change anything anyways. Like let it be a surprise.
Let it be a surprise, exactly.
Because you worry about clients being
Yeah.
like, but I don't like that, and being like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't make
Well,
any changes.
wait.
You approve the storyboard, but then you get to actually see the whole drone show in time, but it's just digital. So
That's cool though. I mean, but also, I
Yeah.
think I'd almost if I can't change it, I'd almost rather be surprised by
Yeah.
it at that point.
yeah, but it did help me for like timing purposes because we had
Yeah.
to time music with the band and like do all.
Oh.
So yeah, I got to be the one that was like on the phone with the drone show pilot, and the band's next to me, and I got to be like, 3, 2, 1, go.
Calling the show.
That's awesome.
Right?
It's also funny because it's like with fireworks, you don't need to do music with it really because
You want to hear the
you wanna hear-
explosions.
the boom. But it's
Yeah,
like
you wanna hear it,
if
yeah.
you did a drone show without music,
It
you're like,
would be really weird.
Oh, so then the
Totally.
music cued to it.
Buzzing,
Yes,
yeah.
everything was
So
cute.
it was
So it
synced to
literally
music,
had to be they
damn.
push the button at the same time or things would be off. So I
Did
felt a
you-
lot of pressure.
Did you hear the buzzing? I know that if you get it up high
Yes.
enough, you can't hear any of the buzzing. So
We could hear the buzzing.
okay.
It also was so
like a hum.
humid.
Yeah, it's like a.
If you look, I have
Oh.
pictures and stuff. You can see the color like
Yeah.
around, like there's like an aura around
Oh.
these images because
You
it
might
was
have
so
to
humid.
shoot us a couple so we can put them up on
Yeah.
the screen for when this is playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that?
I can't wait to see it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm such a geek about it too. So like I every time I see it on social media too, I'm like, sweet, and like checking it out.
Like, share, yes, save.
Yeah, I mean it's just exciting to be able to do that and then to like do the biggest package too of
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
to see it, be part of it.
When I saw
Yeah.
the thing at MNFEA, I went and Googled it because I was like, how much does this cost? Because when we were talking about like projects we're working on and doing like a grand opening, I was like, oh, that'd be so sick to do a grand opening, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
but-
not cheap, but
Yeah.
you think about the equipment.
Oh
and
no,
the,
the
I mean,
time,
the programming.
Oh
and
my god, it's a lot of people involved. I
That's
can
what I'm-
understand.
Yeah, just
why
the amount
it's-
of time behind the scenes. Like
Yeah,
they
and-
probably make it look easy on the day of too.
Yes.
Like they set up
Oh,
their
for
stuff,
sure. You see
the
it and you're like,
computers, they put
oh,
them
super
out,
easy,
and then
no big
like
deal.
a couple hours. Did they do a test flight beforehand?
Mm-mm.
It just was like, oh,
live.
They have like an
shit.
extra like $1,000
Live.
mowing fee.
Damn.
Like,
Yeah.
You have to
So-
check each propeller and everything
Yes.
too. So that's why
Yeah.
you have like 6 people out there checking.
When they were on AGT, they did their show was 1,000 drones.
Yeah.
Scrapers.
1,000.
Yeah. It was.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I can't imagine how many test flights they did on.
How did they
before
do
it went
that
on
on
TV.
AGT? Is that outside?
They
Yeah,
went. They
so
took
they go
everybody
outside?
outside.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
had to pause right when
And then-
when this group was up and be like, okay, we got to take you guys
It's
outside.
like completely outside of the reins of
Totally
their normal
outside.
show.
Are you
Totally.
looking it up right now, Alex? Because I want to see it.
And then
It's very cool.
And then Simon gives him a gold buzzer, and it turns out that was his second gold buzzer of the show.
And he wasn't supposed
So
to
they
do
had
that.
to change the rules for that this season.
Oh,
I'm sure it was kind of all built show, right? A
Mhm.
little bit, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just make it
It's
up
like
as they go.
House
they
Hunters.
make it.
Yeah.
Even Simon said that. He's like, "Well, this is my show.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
want.
make up the rules." There you go.
Yeah, so that's the drones have taken off at this point, and they're all coming in, right?
And then they go away. That's kind of
Yeah, the lights go off.
So you don't see what they're gonna do, and then also,
Right.
okay.
Yep. And then this one they did a very like obviously space theme.
I was gonna say, is that a
Mhm.
Elon Musk thing? No. Is that space? What is it? What's the
SpaceX.
no? But the new one, actual spaceship itself. Never mind. Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
I know,
Oh.
just-
Like what he calls it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget what he calls it, but
Needs to be more pointy at the top.
It's
There it
got
goes.
a star
Oh,
on
it's a
top.
star.
It's taking
Star on
off.
top.
No.
So it's taken
Elon
off.
Musk changed the top of it.
Oh,
to more pointy.
Oh,
that's right.
yeah. So now it's taking off, and then the whole
As is the rest of
platform
the
kind of
world.
like falls away, and this thing's
Oh wow.
now it's going through the clouds.
Oh, okay.
It's really cool.
it is very.
It
this
actually,
is what I mean, though.
with the
If
music,
you
it
didn't
makes
have-
it
if you didn't have
really.
It would be so weird to
It'd
watch
be like
your own
you're
show. It's just
watching
like,
this, like.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just like verbally.
Perfect.
It's like the Star Spangled Banner or something.
Yeah.
Like
And now, like I think the burners will fall off
Don't
the sides.
Don't ruin the.
I
You
like
know,
the
you've
little
seen it.
sparkling
Star
star.
I'm trying to.
I mean,
Starship.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
good for
yeah.
Spotify for those who aren't really
Yeah, if you're not watching.
watching. But yeah, cool.
We're
Is
exiting.
it
Yeah.
gonna is it gonna blow up like Apollo 11 or whatever it was?
Challenger.
Challenger.
I don't know what it was.
Apollo 11.
we were both like,
I can't remember.
There's so now the burners
Yes,
fall
no more
away.
Separation, star
Oh,
goes
okay.
out. You know, very cool. I also realized I could have just shown the actual drone show because I have it on my phone.
Yeah, I want to see that clip eventually. You'll send me that one and
Yeah.
we'll put it on.
Yes.
This is cool. I don't know how long we need to
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's so cool
But
though.
that's the idea.
That's so fun. What are you most excited about after seeing like something so cool like a drone show? You've done a lot in your career. You own Linen Effects now. Like, what's exciting to you now? Is that a tough one? I didn't think that
that's-
was too
I
bad of a tough one.
mean, have you had
Well,
you
you're
had a
basically
chance to catch
you're
your breath
basically
enough to like
asking
know?
I
what's
don't.
next.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
We,
and what's
We've
next?
caught our breath enough that we bought a puppy.
yeah.
Oh, so you just were like, let's throw another.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
his we've talked about it. 2-year. You know, he's got the 2-year. Like he can only do things for 2 years. Like
Yeah,
all of a sudden
yeah.
this year he wanted
Just
to get a
get the
puppy.
itch, you know?
So
Yeah.
we always
Had a
have to
little
have some sort of
chaos.
change in our
Yeah.
lives. But no, we were actually saying that we feel like this might be the most steady like point in our lives ever. We haven't added any children. We haven't added a new business in 2 years. Like we, you know, I don't know. And our kids are at an age where it's like fun. They're
Yeah.
9, 7, and 6. You know, so
I
So it's fun.
also.
but
Oh, go
Okay.
ahead. I was just gonna say I have a question I want to ask you about that. Because
Yes.
we talked about this a little bit earlier,
Yes.
and I was
Yeah.
like, if there's a moment I can like put this in there, I would love to bring it up. But there was a post that you put on Facebook, like I don't know how long ago was it now? A couple months ago.
that was probably March.
Yeah. So
Got to give some context.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
working at it.
Okay.
You can take long pauses, and I can't catch my breath. Like, okay.
You could have said something.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was that you posted looking for a nanny, or
Correct.
that you were searching for a nanny again.
We were searching for a nanny. Yeah.
Because
there-
our au pair
Our au pair
Up
kind
and
of up and left.
quit.
Yeah.
She
Like
kinda
last
unexpectedly.
Yeah, unexpectedly.
And then there was a very unkind comment on it.
Yes.
Oh, I remember
Yes.
reading that as
so,
well.
Yeah, we were just doing a simple like nanny post of like basically what we were looking for. And you know, our hours are long. They just are. And
yeah.
a lot of work to do.
a lot of work to
Yeah.
do. And we live, you know, we have like a half an hour commute. So you got to add that in there. And that's on a good day. And so, yeah, so I had posted just kind of the, like what we were looking for the job, the hours, you know, all of that. And someone commented basically saying like, if that's the hours that you're looking for, when do you actually see your children? And I was like, first of all, I didn't really know this person. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
how we were connected.
We didn't know her at all.
No, I
didn't
couldn't figure out
really-
how
you
we
didn't
were
know- she was a
connected. I'm sure it was
stranger.
just
Like
somebody.
one of those random things that like all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
like, wait,
Absolute
how do I
troll.
know you? Yeah.
Yep.
Absolute troll.
In
He
more
gets
ways
really
than
Oh,
fired
one.
I
up.
was so.
I
He
know.
was
I
so fired
remember
up.
you were very angry. It was
He,
very-
Oh,
my
I
comment
posted. I was
back.
like, "Here's an idea. How about you go fuck yourself?"
Yeah. My comment was
I didn't
much
say-
I
more.
did read that.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
read that.
My comment
I
was
said
much
F
more.
and then 3 special characters.
Yes. My
You could
comment
say
was
fuck.
much
That's my
more
way of
like
being nice, but
Yeah.
I, you know, much more explanatory, I guess, of like we see our children are our priority. This is, you know, this
Yeah.
is the
It's
whole
why
thing.
you build businesses too, so you can
Yeah.
have a family and take care of them and
Yeah.
give them the
Yes.
things that
I
we
mean,
didn't
it's
have
all
as
a
kids.
balance.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, obviously.
And
It's-
quite honestly, like yes, we work a lot, but like when we're home, and
Right.
we've, you know, I've gotten much better over the years of when I'm home, I'm present, and you know, we watched AGT together a few nights ago, like eating dinner.
Family dinner night.
Yeah.
But you know, it struck a chord, and I posted about it. I'm usually one to avoid drama. I don't like it. I don't like confrontation in general. I mean, I can handle it, but I don't like it.
the
I don't like
controversy.
creating it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was this is something that I've dealt with for the entire time I've been a mom. Like people asking how I handle all of the things, how, you know, how my schedule works, how I see my children, how I, you know, like all of those questions. And those questions aren't necessarily bad in themselves, and I don't mind answering them. However, he has never gotten asked that question.
Never. I'm
Since
sure.
we've bought Linen Facts, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten asked, like, well, who takes care of your kids? Or, you know, how does it work with, you have 3 kids? How does that work?
You're like,
you
we
know?
got them ironing linens in the back. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They're here
Free
all the
labor.
time. Just kidding.
Free labor.
Just kidding. No, they actually ask all the time. They're like, how old do we have to be to come work at Linen Effects?
Yeah.
Like,
10.
15.
Yeah.
No, but like I get asked that question all the time.
Yeah.
And he has never gotten asked that question one time.
Double standard type thing.
It is very much a double standard. I just feel like in general women get asked how we
Well,
how
is
we
it because
juggle
women
kids.
talk about shit and dudes were just like, "What up, dude?" And
I
then
mean,
it's like, "Hey,
No,
But
it's
he's
also
fucking
the
lost last
expectation
night.
that
Yeah.
women should be at home taking care of the
I
children.
know that I
and
see that side,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I'm
it
also
is.
like
I think there is an element
Guy
of
to
that. I'm not
guy.
gonna lie.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't
Guy to-
ask me that question
guy to
because
guy-
you don't think about it and you don't care.
But that's the other thing is that you would
You
never think
don't
about
think
it
about
in the
it.
context of a male business owner or a male like lawyer or
well,
doctor.
I would never ask Jenna that either, though.
Well,
Sure.
You know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter who's male or whatever. It's
Right.
just like
Right.
I don't think I would ask
but there's a
anybody
lot
that.
of people.
I have
who-
gotten
Is it
asked
guys?
it by both
that-
genders.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I'm wondering.
I will say the majority of people that have asked me that are other women.
Right.
Now, some of
Yeah.
that is out of like, how do you do this? Like,
Well,
I know
I
you
do,
have,
I do
and I
genuinely
get
think
that.
like people do think like, man, how do you manage
Right.
And
all
that's
of that?
fair.
Because it is like a
Yeah.
you just think about it and you're like, God damn, that's a lot of work.
There's a big
There's
difference
a lot of
between
stuff going
how
on.
do you
So
do
part
that
of it-
and
how do you
like,
do that?
How do
Yeah.
you do that?
Her,
It's
yeah,
not
this
always
person's
judgy.
comment,
Yeah.
which was very
this
judgy.
person was
But it is just, you know, something that I feel like should be brought up more. That, you know, I don't know, women. There's no there's no difference here.
Oh.
A female business owner versus a male business owner, you know, we all have lives and families and all the things, but there's this added expectation, in my opinion, on women to be extremely present in the home.
Be the primary caregiver.
It's no different than when I say he is the primary cook and he is the primary grocery shopper in our house.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky to have a husband that does that. And I'm like, no, that's our partnership.
Yeah.
We have made that decision that
Right.
that is, he loves it and I hate it. You know, it's not my thing.
It works. It works for us.
It works for us.
Well, it's a team effort, and like each half, somehow it needs to happen.
Right.
Like grocery shopping,
Gotta
and
get done.
cooking,
Does.
and
It's
gotta
all the
get
stuff.
done.
Somebody's got to
She
do
hates doing it. I like doing it.
Yeah.
So I'll do it and she won't.
And I
She works more, right?
I
She
do.
spends more time at the office.
yeah,
You have two
She has more
companies.
responsibility
Right, yeah.
than I have.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the trade-off.
it is. And I just feel like it should be less of an issue in this day and age, but it is still very much a present issue. And I just don't think there's enough people voicing it. And so in that instance, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take on the scrutiny. And I actually got slammed even from that post, like the nastiest messages I've ever received.
What?
Like DMs?
Yep.
From other
Oh,
people?
Yep.
call them out.
DMs, right?
From like
I mean,
people that were like,
Fuck
some
that.
freaking
I
nerve.
hope your new nanny teaches your kids manners and, you know, and good, like, whatever,
wish
because
we
you
could-
clearly don't. And I was
Wish
like,
we could time
backhanded
travel back
comments.
and have your nanny
Right.
teach you some manners.
And these
I
are
know.
strangers.
yeah,
So fucked
They
up.
don't know us from Adam
yeah.
or
so,
Eve.
Yeah. Good
Not to leave out the
call.
women, right? Total freaking strangers. Like,
yeah. It just,
Go
it just
away.
was like
Yeah.
an
Like,
eye-opening
bizarre.
nobody gives a
experience
shit
for
about
me,
you.
Yeah.
if
where
you
I
don't have
was like,
something nice to
wow.
say,
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
golden
it's
rule.
like
Yep.
golden
keep it
rule.
to yourself.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
definitely.
super
I think
wild.
that I commented on it and said that like I'm convinced that way more people than I expected have a humiliation kink because I can't think of any other reason you'd say something that fucking stupid on the internet. Like,
Yeah.
Right?
why? Why? Like,
Yep.
what are you gaining from this except to shame somebody else and like
Yeah.
to get called names by other people? Like, or
Right.
just it's just like
Well, and it's
you.
uneducated. Like they have no idea
No.
don't know
your
anything.
daily
They don't know me
anything.
at all.
They don't know
Literally.
your kids. They
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
about you guys and how you're able to actually juggle the things that you do. Like, and
Yeah.
I think that's maybe part of it too. Is like, I think most people don't do a lot.
Yeah.
Like, the average person doesn't do
They don't-
fucking
right, they don't
much.
do very much.
They
Right?
don't. And
Like going to go get just groceries for themselves is hard
It's a big
work.
chore.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Jesus. Like
Yeah.
we utilize every minute of the day. I have 3 kids myself too, so
yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
so I get that, and it's like juggling too. I get the question honestly once in a while from a guy's perspective. People do ask me once in a while, like, oh, you do a lot of shit because I'm working, and then Alex and I do this, and then people see that we're doing the podcast, and so they're like, how do you ever do all this shit or whatever? It's not, maybe not super specific geared towards my kids, but it's like how do you juggle life?
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of.
And I
Right.
get a lot of questions about that too, like you do the most kind of, or like all the things or whatever. But there's something really specific about saying like, when do you ever see your kids? Like
Yes.
there's
That's-
just a
And I think the thing that we've
Super.
decided is that our goal is to raise really, self-sufficient humans that also want to follow their goals and their dreams. And, I look at how our kids have had nannies or au pairs or daycare or whatever, but you know what? They also can voice their opinion to other people besides their parents. And they can, we've had conversations where they're like, I'm feeling frustrated about this or whatever, however little kids say
Yeah,
it. And I'm
yeah.
like, all right, then you need to have that conversation with the
That
nanny,
person, right.
the teacher, the whatever. And I think that's just a life skill that's going to serve them.
to be able to like speak up and voice your opinion or like share when you're frustrated. And that's like a skill a lot of children do not learn.
Yeah.
And also you're like, I don't know your au pair now, but like your last one was from Brazil. Like that's such an amazing eye-opening experience about the world. Like when I was in daycare as a kid, I don't remember how old I was, like probably under 9, I would guess. Our daycare woman had a foreign exchange student from Portugal.
Yes.
And I just remember very distinctly like looking up Portugal on a map, like reading about it and being like, where is that? It was one of the first times, like, because I grew up in like rural Minnesota, that I was like, I want to go there. Like, I want to see that someday. And
Have you?
No, weirdly. It's one of the
Life goals.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been to like 17 countries, but Portugal has not been one of them yet.
Yeah.
But it's been on my list for sure. And it just like can change the trajectory of your life in some ways, in weird ways. So I think that's an invaluable thing that, okay, maybe you're not spending, 40 hours a week with your children, but they are spending that time with another interesting, educated person who is adding color and flavor to their life. Like, why is that a bad thing?
Well, and they're with their siblings.
Yeah.
It's not like it's one kid just like hanging out with some random people all the time.
Right.
It's like they're all three. Like,
Yeah.
that's good for them to
Just an
do
extension
stuff.
of your family. It's
Exactly.
it takes a village, right?
It
And sometimes
does.
you have to pay the village.
You
I don't
do
know.
sometimes have to
You
pay
do.
the village. And I just feel like we don't know everything. We haven't seen everything. I want my kids to gain all sorts of, experiences and knowledge from other humans. And
When you look at-
ours is quality time, not quality.
You look at like
quantity.
a sports player or a famous person that is in the upper echelon of making money and all that stuff, and they're traveling all the time, and they almost all of them have kids and stuff, and like they're making it work, and it's some of them it's like a different lifestyle, but that also comes with like making bigger dollars sometimes. Like you sometimes have to take that different life approach, and like
Well, yeah. I mean, you could be working 3 part-time jobs making minimum wage and never seeing your kids, or doing, and there's nothing wrong
100%.
with that. Like, that is a struggle that a lot of people have to go through to just survive. And that's like just as difficult, but like nobody's ever like, maybe there are people who are standing around judging that too. I don't know.
And I've heard, it's
Well,
really, it's
yeah,
a
there
first
always
world,
is.
this is
There's
a
always
first
somebody.
world problem.
Yes.
If you go to any third world country and you ask the women there, like, do you feel guilty about going to work? They will say absolutely not, because I'm feeding my kids,
Yeah.
right? And so this is totally
It's
a first
just
world
it's a judgment
problem.
issue. And it's also, I think, a lot of like, if you're in a situation where you felt like maybe you couldn't live your dreams because of having kids and the expectations with that, like you don't always want to see somebody else being able to have it all.
I feel like it's
even
a trap of social media too.
Yeah.
I will
'Cause
also
you
say,
like can't help but
highlight reel
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
the highlight
Jealousy
reel.
and
compare
stuff,
yourself
yeah.
And I
to
will also
what
say
you're
that
seeing constantly.
the outpouring of like defense, like I had more comments on that post and DMs also
it
saying
was
like,
it was
Yeah.
actually way
Oh
more
my gosh,
of
like
that
that's-
than
yes.
the negative.
Yeah.
did the
Right.
support outweigh the
oh,
negative?
Yeah.
way
Awesome.
more,
Awesome.
yeah. And it's just that goes to show. I said to him,
So
I
that
was like,
makes
that
you
goes to
feel
show the
good. You're like,
community
yeah,
that we
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I'm
That
pretty
bitch, what's
sure
up?
I read it and I loved your comment,
Yeah.
but I'm also like, I'm staying out of this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
not
I
my
was like,
fucking
just
place.
I know,
right
right?
into that.
I'm a guy. I'm like,
I
that's
try not
their
to dive
thing,
into
and
those
that's not
pools
my.
most of the
Yeah,
time either.
I have no
Yeah.
place to say anything. Yeah.
I also wanted to point out, Jessica, you made the comment. They said you said standing around and judging.
Yeah.
No, they're standing. You're working.
Yeah.
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 So like, yeah, you can stand and judge all you want,
Yeah.
but if you're not doing it, just shut
Or
up.
like literally
Yeah.
sitting behind your keyboard or whatever, staring at your
Yeah.
phone. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. It's
Right.
none of your fucking business, first of all.
Seriously.
Like, all I want is it's just a job posting.
Right.
Go on to Indeed and start commenting on some job postings there. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
Love it. Well, I feel like that's a good spot, probably, unless
Unless
you
you've
had
got,
something
do you
else
have any of the like questions that wrap up ones?
that you want
and-
to just
yeah.
wrap it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I
Rapid
got them right
fire.
here.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Rapid fire.
No, I mean it's just like a perfect thing for a planner because it's like planner. It's like planner related.
Oh, good thing
stuff.
I'm not a planner.
You're like
So-
out.
All right.
You might have some input on a couple
Yeah,
of these.
okay.
So I think this is just funny, and it brings up some interesting topics too, and just like some, just like how you feel about certain things. So like the first one, plated meal or buffet.
Oh,
See, yeah, right there. You're like,
I think it depends
Plated.
on the scenario, but I would
Plated.
normally say plated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
why?
Because I think there's a higher level of service, and I feel like I go back to control. I can control the flow a little bit more than
What
with a
about
buffet.
cost wise?
I actually think that buffets. I think there's a misconception that buffets are cheaper.
100%.
And in reality, it's really not that way because you have to account for
Yeah.
more
More
protein,
protein.
Way
more
more.
all of the things.
So I'm
So,
taking 3 chicken breasts.
right,
Yeah,
exactly.
buffet.
All-
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're
Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean,
You're going
3 of
back
those
2 or
might-
3 times.
I
If
mean-
it's
And
plated, you
mentioned
get one plate.
You mentioned brasa earlier, didn't you?
No, I think that was yesterday.
Oh shit.
Yeah, she definitely
Yeah,
didn't say
that's
brasa.
That's a bleed over from
But
yesterday.
brasa's
Anyways,
really good.
but
Yeah.
if
Ooh,
it's like
so
if
good.
there's a brasa buffet or whatever, I'm taking a heap. My plate is that.
Of
We
meat.
should
Yeah.
start finding a way to incorporate them into every conversation so we can hypothetically
sponsor.
get like
Right?
a green sauce sponsorship. I don't care about the
Yeah,
yeah,
the
green
grits.
sauce.
Oh, all
Oh,
of
A
it.
different type of
grits.
green. We
Yes, both actually
they're
would be great.
great.
All right, next one. Band or DJ?
Depends on the band and depends on the DJ.
I guess you could go hybrid too.
That's tough.
I will
That is
say,
tough.
yeah. I mean, I will say, I feel like a band brings a different level of energy to the space. However, the right DJ can also bring that.
Yeah.
And a really bad band is just
Yeah.
like really
Oh,
bad.
really bad
So
band
Real bad.
sucks,
There's
right.
nothing quite as bad as
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
if I can pick who the band
Yeah.
is, then
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
If you can control it.
If I damn it, yes.
Yeah, I've seen some sketch bands over the years too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen some things. There's a band I really want to bring up, but I don't want to
Uh-huh,
names
I
out.
know.
Don't do that. I will also
Um,
say DJs, if I don't know them, they're my biggest X factor of the
They
day.
can be very scary. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, what are we getting today? Like
Yep.
spinning a wheel.
yep.
For sure.
100%.
Chicken, steak, or veg?
Okay, well, I'm going to have to pick chicken because I'm actually allergic to beef.
What?
I know. Weird fun fact about me. I got bit by the stupid tick thing that like has the
Oh.
Yeah, so like for the last 2 years I've been allergic to
It's like
beef.
a mad cow tick from
Yep.
the southeast
Yep.
region.
It's like a real
You
thing.
get bit by this thing and you
Everyone
like,
thought
you
I was
can't eat red meat
crazy at the
anymore.
beginning. I was like, no,
Lone
I'm
Star
legit.
tick.
Lone Star tick.
Lone
yeah.
Star tick is
There's
what
an
it's
actual,
called.
I've heard that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's
heard
an
about
actual
that
name
one.
for my thing
Yeah,
that
it's,
people
like,
will be like,
real.
oh, the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I don't even remember what it's called, but yes. So I'm going to say chicken, but there are some good vegetarian things coming out that every once in a while I'll choose.
But you're not a vegetarian.
I am not a vegetarian.
You're not either.
I eat
No.
meat. Yes.
I eat the beef she doesn't eat.
I used to
Yeah,
love beef,
that's-
but I have
definitely.
substituted bison, and we've had some good results with that.
Okay, that's
okay.
cool. Actually,
Yeah, that's a good sub for her is bison.
That's
So
a
for
really
making
good.
spaghetti or hamburgers
Yep.
or even
Also
there's
has-
bison steaks.
Has triple the amount of iron in case
Yep.
you need that.
Ooh,
So
okay.
What about
We do
venison?
bison.
Venison, I'm good with.
Venison
Yep,
is
my
good.
dad's a big hunter, so I grew
Yep.
up on venison. And
Like the leanest protein there is, I
yep,
think.
you
Yeah.
got to be real careful when cooking that, though. It's real
Yeah,
dry,
it's-
real fast.
It's pretty. Yeah.
So,
I've got no skills with cooking any of that stuff. How about inside or outside ceremony?
I'm gonna say inside because I can control it.
I was like, wait, how are you going to say this without saying that you want to be able to control
Yeah, how
it?
many planners
Nope,
would actually say
but
outside?
outside with a really great backup inside plan that they
I think
actually
the view outside can
I
really
love.
like,
Listen, I love
like
me
a
an
lot of X
outside.
factors.
Yeah,
Yes,
there
I just have
is.
to go into it with like plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D because you just don't know.
Did you guys get married indoors?
We
We
did,
did,
yeah. We got married in April, so it wasn't even like a.
Okay,
We were avoiding wedding season.
Fair.
that makes sense too,
But yeah.
especially if you're like, because you were just starting to plan weddings
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rap or rock? I feel like that's a weird.
Wait, what?
question.
Like music, rap.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? Where did the rocks come in?
Not those kind of rocks. No.
Plastic wrap
I'm
or
gonna
just a
say
paperweight?
rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
Probably like 90s rap, I would say.
Okay.
Snoop and Dre.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Eminem.
No, if I'm
Yeah.
cleaning up a wedding,
But I like
yeah.
I like rock too. 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foreigner and
I appreciate that you said Snoop and Dre and you didn't put Eminem in there.
No, he did.
You did.
I
You did?
He
put
did.
Eminem.
He
miss it?
mumbled it right after.
I did.
Nice.
You gotta.
He's in there with them.
He is, but
Yeah.
it's just like surprising to me. I was like, this is the first person.
oh, I
who's
love Eminem.
White who hasn't said Eminem.
I've been listening to all the new Eminem stuff and everything he comes out with. Kamikaze was a great album. Listen to track 3 on that on Spotify on your way home.
Okay.
It's good with
All I mean, he's puts out some. I mean, he's,
it's a banger,
Yeah.
like in like a gangster way.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
He's
yeah.
super talented.
Wine or beer Or cocktails, I guess. Wine. Oaky. She likes
Oaky
the oaky
Chardonnay.
Chardonnay.
Unoaked Chardonnays shouldn't exist. That's just my opinion.
I don't drink
I
white
will
wine.
put that out there and
Yeah.
stand by it.
I don't know that I've ever
Controversy.
had a full glass.
Controversy.
Bringing it in.
Of white wine.
I don't know if I've ever drank a full glass.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
like in college, like
Yeah.
because it was like all there was. But
Free at the
Yes.
bar.
Then
3 o'clock
you
in
just
the
haven't
morning.
experienced.
Yeah,
And you're
somebody had a box of wine or whatever,
Yeah.
and you slapping
Some
the shit out of
Franzia.
that thing.
I don't think those are
That's
oaky.
not. That's not what I'm talking about.
They're a little
They can't
plastic.
oak it and then put it in there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I also love a good red wine. I'm not just
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna
Copy,
drink
copy.
white. Yeah.
What about for you? Your cocktail.
Yeah, cocktail. Tanqueray, probably. I mean, I like beer, but I can't really drink much beer. I'm
Gluten free. So
gluten free.
Are you?
So,
So am
yeah,
I.
so
Such a
it's
pain in the
beer
ass.
just- it
I quit
hurts-
drinking
it
beer
hurts the
pretty
next day.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
But like,
I'm
I
not
love a
gluten-free.
good Surly Furious,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but it just hurts the next day. So,
Just like wake up.
hurts us all.
so Tanqueray or a nice Cabernet.
Yeah, cabs
Yeah.
are. I love a good
Cabs,
cab
Napa
too.
Cab or
Malbec.
Washington or Malbec or yeah.
What about a favorite vacation spot?
I would. Well, I feel like beach. I mean, I don't know about a
Beach. Anywhere with a
specific
beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
We were at the
anywhere.
Dominican a few years ago.
Yeah. Yep. And
Yeah, we were just there.
Yeah.
I
Oh
think.
yeah, these
A
guys went
beach,
there
I
on a
think
date.
anywhere we can slow
Where did you
down
stay
a little
there?
bit.
Where were we? We were in.
You say it like a inclusive resort.
We did,
Yeah,
but
we
we were
did.
actually on not the touristy side
So
because
Punta
we were
Cana's on the south side of the.
Yep.
It's not an island, but it's a.
It
I
is-
think it's a peninsula. We were up on
island.
the North Shore.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forget
So
the name of the little
We
town,
were like
but
one
more-
of two,
it was more
or
like
two
European.
couples that were American, and that was it. And the rest were
Yeah.
European and locals. So we were like,
Yeah.
oh, we found the spot. You know, it was
Nice.
kind of fun.
That's cool. Yeah, we were in Punta Cana.
yeah,
But yeah, anywhere with a
I think
beach,
beach.
because right now I just don't have the mental capacity to do any sort of like true touristy location.
I also think it'd be so hard with kids. I imagine. I just like don't know doing anything with like a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
Yeah,
we just
you
when
know,
we
yeah.
have time to go
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
vacation,
you
we're
don't
like,
wanna do
I just want to
anything.
No.
relax.
Did you take the kids with?
We
No.
didn't that time. that
Not-
was
not
Yeah,
Fair.
that's hard. That would
Yeah.
be almost impossible.
no, but we
almost
we've
impossible.
taken them down to Florida and different places
Yeah,
like that. But
yeah.
we are actually going on a houseboat trip here in July. But
Nice.
we're not bringing the kids on that one.
Fishing in Canada.
We are going to go
There you go.
In the
fishing.
woods.
I actually, yeah.
He was
I
just
grew up
fishing
fishing and
in
musky
Alaska.
fishing
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
walleye fishing and
I
I
used
love
to, and now I
fishing.
don't
Yeah.
I
do
do
it ever
too.
because I don't.
I need to
enjoy
get
I
a
it.
just bought
reel.
a boat a few weeks ago.
How
Yeah?
can you fish if you can't sit still for 20 minutes? That's all you do.
well, because he can cast.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't sit still fishing. You really
it feels
don't.
like it to me.
Yeah.
It feels like it to me.
Well, you're constantly tying on new lures. Your
Oh,
kids are snagging their lines. You know,
Yeah.
not that dedicated.
you're
to
trolling
it.
this way, you're trolling that way. The wind's going this way, the wind's going that way. You're watching the water depth.
Sure.
I grew
It
up.
keeps you busy.
That,
yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
that.
That's the
It's
thing.
relaxing, but it is relaxing in a way that you're still constantly like, you're
Moving.
trying to figure out what's going on and how to catch some
Oh, it's
fish.
fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You get a good tan.
You get it. Yeah, you get some bites. I mean, when the fish are biting.
What's your favorite bait?
My favorite bait.
You like to fish with like worms or spinners or like are you using
I fish
minnows?
with everything. I fished a lot with her dad.
Okay.
That's kind of where I've learned most of like I don't know how to fish.
Wax worms, bro. That's
Oh,
where it's
yeah.
at. Yeah.
Wax
Yeah,
worms.
waxies,
I mean, I've put on
minnows,
leeches.
crawlers, spinner baits. I mean,
random topics. It's so funny.
whatever.
I love it.
Whatever the
not
fish
a-
are biting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You know,
the
whatever the
best.
fish are biting.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did we get to that?
I don't know.
vacation spot. Vacation
yeah.
spot. Yeah, no,
Right.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, I got a couple more here. What's your least favorite event trend? Guess that-
Barn
yeah.
weddings.
You just eliminate.
Like, I have
that's
a
okay.
lot of
That's
next
okay.
That's what she's gonna.
Well,
I've heard her say that many times.
Yeah, they're not my favorite. It depends on the barn. I
Sure.
just think there's been a lot of barns that
I apologize to all the barn,
barn
venues.
Yeah, please.
Nothing against barn
Did you know there's a
venues.
whole
There's
association?
a whole association you just
Minnesota
ticked off.
Rural Event Venue Association.
Yeah,
You're
no,
fine,
I
you're
think
fine.
it depends on the barn. With how it's set up and how well it's been thought out
Yes.
and all of that.
And the climate control and the
Correct,
bathrooms.
correct.
And the...
There's a lot I can't control in
Yeah.
barn venues.
That makes perfect sense, actually. Yes.
So,
Just
let's go
blame it
back
on
to
my
that.
control.
It's my control issues. I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Turns
I'm
out that
trying
was
to think.
it.
That was
the
that's the answer.
That was
I
it.
guess.
She didn't want to say it.
That's okay. I figured it'd be something
I think.
like mason jars or something.
Well, yeah. I
Those
mean,
are, like,
let's
so
let
far
those
gone.
die.
I know they
Yeah,
are.
that
They're
was
so
like when I
far
first
gone.
started.
gone.
I
They're
will
like not even
say,
a trend
yeah,
anymore.
I will say I love the trend of color right now. So I feel like we went through like I don't know
The
how many
beige
years of like
days.
yeah, and so I'm loving how there's like color now.
What's like the color this year?
All of them. I mean,
Really?
it's
just
it
like
is
very colorful.
very
Yeah.
colorful. Yeah. I mean, we're doing all sorts of color.
Awesome.
So-
Last
I love
year,
that.
Krista Crawford from
Tabasco's.
Tabasco's daughters
Tabasco's, yeah.
said it was like a reddish kind of color.
hue?
Last, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh, magenta. Magenta was
I think it was
the
magenta.
Pantone color of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We
Yeah.
laugh when the Pantone color of the year comes out at Linen Effects
Yeah.
because then we get 47 inquiries to do styled shoots with any magenta or Pantone color linens
Amazing.
or stuff that we're like,
For the year,
let
it was like
go.
the dual colors, and it was
Uh-huh.
like Serenity something. It was like blue and pink, basically, and it was like a nursery.
cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Weirdo
It was a
one.
nursery.
Yeah.
He comes up or whatnot.
Pantone.
They just pick
Pantone.
it.
The
Pantone?
company
Pantone
does
picks
it,
the
yeah.
color
Pick
of the
They
year.
pick
Like,
it.
Yeah.
it's
Magenta.
whatever.
Marmalade.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Green
Marmalade.
27.
And what do
I
they
remember
do?
in 2020, it was like gray, like cell block gray
Yeah.
and yellow. And I was
Yeah,
like,
it-
really?
I
This is
know.
what we need this
And I
year?
was like,
I feel like
was
we need a little
that-
bit of like
And that
Prison
gray and
theme.
yellow.
a
was
prison
fun.
theme.
I mean, we were all in jail, so
Oh.
yeah.
What's a favorite restaurant you guys frequent?
Our current
We
favorite
had
has been Maison
several.
Margot.
Yeah.
I haven't been there
Where's
yet.
that?
North
Oh,
Loop.
I've heard it's good,
Yeah,
though.
Second.
It's so
It's
good.
really good.
Where was
So
it when
good.
we had dinner that one time in St. Paul?
Grolla?
La
Yeah,
Grolla.
We were just there
love
We were there.
night.
We were there last night.
Yeah.
Oh, I just
Patio.
drove by it
Yep.
the other day because I was over at
That
the
was so
Coven,
good.
and I just love that spot. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Mara is another one of our favorites at
Yep.
Four Seasons.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
Maison Margot, I feel like has been, if you want like authentic French, that's really good.
That's dope.
Nice. I don't know anything.
It's
Yeah,
I just
Like,
like
I don't
frog
know
legs for the
anything.
first
Like,
time.
trying to think of
Go
French
there.
food.
Go there.
Listen,
You'll
hang
learn
on.
some. You'll
I
learn some French food.
Had frog legs at the Branding Iron in Preston, Minnesota. Never ever expected that to be the place where I would have them for the first time.
No, that sounds no.
Yeah,
Tell
I've
me
been
more.
to France like 5 times, and I was like, I never had them there. But then I saw them on the menu, and my brother and I like, should we? And we're like, let's do it. They were right.
They
Yeah.
taste kind of like dry chicken.
Yeah,
Just deep
yeah,
fried.
that's exactly. I
Yeah.
was like, it's kind of like chicken, but like dry, and
Uh-huh.
they were all right. They weren't terrible. And then it turned out my cousin was the chef, which I did not know. And then I was like, why frog legs? Like it's so random. And I was like, are these like fresh grown like out the door sort of
Like,
thing?
where are these
Catch 'em in a
frogs coming
bucket.
from?
Oh,
seriously.
Getting
Yeah,
the little
where,
waxes
yeah, where
on
did
there.
the frogs come
Yeah.
from?
No.
I was
Oh,
watching
waxy.
some frogging videos where they just drive in a boat at night and shine them with a light, and then they just snatch them out of the pond or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It was cool. I was watching that last night. It was awesome. Yeah,
Frogging.
that's what I do. That's what I do. I geek out.
Yep.
All right, one more for you guys. Chandeliers or a good floral installation?
Can I have both?
You could. You
A
can.
hybrid.
Gotta paint the picture for me, though.
I don't know. The thing about it is, okay, here's the thing. It's like, what is the theme of the wedding? What does it look like? What does
Totally.
the aesthetic need? I
How
could
much
go
can I control
chandelier.
it?
Right.
Right.
There's
Can I
that.
dim it? Can I control the lighting?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you own chandeliers with Linen Effects, so
well, not
there's-
really anymore.
Oh,
He made me get rid of them.
fair.
Well, we just kind of went, Adam's got it. We
Yeah.
don't need to.
I mean,
we don't
real
need to
talk,
have it.
though.
I love working
Yeah.
with
Real
Adam from
talk.
Foes.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
he
shout
kind
out
of
to
he's cornered
Foes.
that market, which is great. He does an
I
amazing
don't-
job.
Yeah, and we just don't have.
It's not in our wheelhouse.
It's
Yeah.
just
So it's like,
yeah.
let's just
It
cut
is a whole different
Like
sort
it's
of
you have to
Yeah.
somebody with like rigging capabilities,
Yeah,
all that
the
stuff. Like,
technical
we just don't
knowledge.
do
getting a
any of
lift
that.
in there.
I'm a firm
Yeah, we just
believer of
don't
like
do it.
Yeah.
we want to.
We're
here's
on the
our
ground,
do
lane.
what
we're
you
on the
do it
tabletop.
well.
Yeah.
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 Like, that's it.
Yep.
I
Yep.
respect that. I like
Yep.
that.
So
I just remember the one giant one that they used to have.
yep, we sold those.
What
Yeah.
did you sell them to?
We have one
Festivities.
left.
Oh, okay,
We
okay.
have one left.
We do have one
When
left.
you walk in the will call door,
Yeah.
right?
We had to leave
pick
one.
up. It's
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
But yeah, we.
I think I just genuinely saw that the other day because
Yep.
I did drop some stuff off.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
probably why I
Yep.
thought of it.
It's
yeah.
Yep.
more we just keep it there because
Just as a memento.
Yeah.
you just walk in and you see it
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that's,
So-
wow, that's
It is
really
timeless.
pretty. Yeah, it's
I did-
timeless.
yeah.
Yes.
I didn't answer your question, but I like them both. I don't know.
No,
You can't
that's
make me
totally
pick.
that's acceptable. Well, then I have to ask one last question. What's your like favorite song, like non-wedding?
Oh, non-wedding.
It could be wedding, but like we
Oh.
hear the same 20 songs every wedding.
We do.
Especially if it's a band, you know it's going to be like Earth, Wind, and Fire, September.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a decent song, but god damn, like, but I get it. Like, it's a
Well,
wedding. They're doing it for like the first
yeah.
time or whatever. Yeah.
We have a joke on our team, but we all have like a wedding song, right? So when we're all at different, different weddings at the same time, we'll like record each other's wedding songs and then send it to each other, and then it'll be like, and it's playing here, and it's playing here. So like, and then it's like the song that you can't help but like sing to at a wedding.
Yeah.
And mine is Whitney Houston, "I Want to Dance with Somebody."
Oh,
I just
a
can't help it.
classic.
Like I'm just
Yeah.
like, I want to dance with somebody. You don't need to hear me sing, but
That's pretty good.
that one is like the wedding song. But I would say honestly, anything by Meghan Trainor, I'll
Oh, yeah.
just like I go running to, I like she's like who I turn on if I've got a
No idea who that
Little
is.
hype up. Yeah, I feel
Is
like
she
you
still
do. I
releasing
think if
music?
Meghan
you...
Trainor?
what?
Is Meghan Trainor still releasing
She
music?
just released
Yeah,
a new
she just
album.
Yeah.
Oh, she
Just
did.
released it, like,
I just like I felt
couple
like
weeks
she
ago.
like disappeared off my like radar
Yeah.
for like years.
I don't-
She's a little
Weird.
more
I
niche
can't
nowadays.
think. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Like
She's
I probably
definitely
maybe know,
becoming
but I
niche.
don't know
You
what.
would
I
know.
couldn't
Yeah,
identify
yeah.
a song.
You
No.
yeah,
You
she's
heard
got
it,
so
yeah.
many.
You
hits.
Yeah.
would if you heard it. You definitely.
Yeah.
I can't think
Yeah.
of the name of any of them, but you would.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
if I heard it, I'd probably recognize
Yeah.
the song.
What
but-
about you?
Dear future
I don't even know what
boyfriend or
your
something.
yeah.
One of them.
Dear future husband.
husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear future husband. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, that's
No
that was just
idea.
like Meghan Trainor. I'm like, I
Uh-huh.
know
There's-
that.
She's
That's-
got a lot of them.
Yeah.
I was in a swing. I used to swing dance, and that's
Yes.
actually how I met
Yes.
my wife. And like that was one that was played every single time, and it, like,
She
it is
does-
dead for me for sure.
Yeah.
But like
That's fair.
That's
Dead.
where I was like, that's where it was like, oh, I know who Meghan Trainor is,
Yeah.
and then it just disappeared.
She does
when I
kind of have
stopped.
that like she veers like 1950s a little bit, like she's got like the like under I don't know
Yeah,
Yeah.
she kind of has that old school
vibe.
soul.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
I don't. I mean, I listen to a lot of different music, but
Yacht rock.
yacht rock.
I love yacht rock.
yacht rock.
That's such a
and
safety
when we go
blanket for
camping
every
with
tech.
our friends the Gangles.
Yep.
It's yacht rock 24/7.
Oh,
Morgan Wallen. I like a lot of his stuff.
how about you guys?
I'm all over the place. I did do when Ilea Live was here in 2019. We did a welcome party at Machine Shop, and we called it No Coast Up Close because I wanted to do a yacht rock themed party.
Oh yeah.
So that
Nice.
was, yeah, it was fun.
I mean, I feel like you can listen to yacht rock for hours.
It's just like
It's like
it's chill, it's
timeless.
good. Yeah, and I like you
Like
can
this
sing
podcast
along.
is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah,
timeless.
exactly.
Controlled, but
except for
timeless.
the time that we've put into
Yeah.
it. So
Yes.
as
Oh my
that's
God.
probably a
Yeah.
good point to end on.
Right.
Yeah. No, I would say for me, I've been listening to a lot of. I listen to Eminem once in a while, but I've been listening to DaBaby a lot. I know. Yeah. And I've been listening
Oh.
to what the hell is it? Shit, I can't think of it. But yeah, like a lot of rap lately. I've been on this
Oh,
like
yeah.
rap kick.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from because like I'm a guitar player, so I like usually like stuff with like guitar and
Yeah.
like
that's not
like
really
rock or
but-
blues or funk.
Yeah.
But I think I just did so much of that shit for so long, and I'd like
needed a
practice.
break.
Like even during COVID, I would play like 4 or 5 fucking hours a day, and at night, like it would put the kids to bed, and I'd just play guitar till I was like exhausted, and then I'd go to bed and just basically do it all over again. Like for like 6 months I did that while COVID was happening.
Yeah.
So I just like exhausted myself, and then I played a gig like with some like a jazz thing that I was doing. It's called gypsy jazz, but like I guess it's like an offensive term now, gypsy. So I don't know. It's jazz manouche, I guess is what it's called. It's like a French jazz. It's French. It's the only thing French that I know.
Oui, oui.
Frogs, French.
And I did it. It was like a couple years ago in July, so it's like over a year and a half that I like played a gig, and I just like kind of chilled on music, and then recently just started getting into like rap and stuff, and I was just, I don't know, I think that's kind of like the rebirth of music for me a little bit, because like I originally loved rap, and like rap was like when I was like, you know, it was like in the 2000s or like late
90s, 2000s
late 90s.
rap is my thing for sure.
Yeah, that got me into it, and then it
So
was
good.
like smoke
So
weed every day, and then I was like, fuck yeah! And then it was like I was super into music, and I started playing guitar around that time too. So then it was like listening to like Creedence Clearwater Revival, because they fucking got some riffs and shit, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, so my musical taste is everywhere, but I'm just like on this rap kick, and I think it's like this like gangster side of me.
Coming
Which
out.
I'm like not
It's your
really.
gangster era.
I'm just like going through a phase though where I just like I need that fucking like. Well, it's probably partially like I've been hitting the gym a lot, and it's like that music really fuels me when I'm there. So it's like, and then it crosses over because I get pumped up, and then like be driving home from work, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
you just feel good.
Yeah.
or you get
Yeah.
like road rage, and you're like, fuck these guys, and then you're just like put on this jam, and you know. So, anyways, I'm nuts, but.
You're that guy on the road.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. It was awesome
Yeah,
chatting.
it was
I
really
feel like
fun.
I know you so much better too now, which is cool.
Yeah.
And you have to come back sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to
Well,
do
next
another
time
one.
we get to interview you guys.
Yeah, we'll come to Linen Effects and set up there, and then you can
That'd be
interview us. We'll
sweet.
just do
we,
like a
we
whole.
were gonna do an on the road
That'd be cool.
phase
Yes.
coming up here. So yeah, we'd love to figure out something with you guys and come
Please.
hang out.
They
and-
let us come do an ILEA event in their warehouse,
did with-
which
Yeah.
was probably
Yeah.
very difficult. And
My production team will never ever let me do that again. So
I
fair.
was about to say it. It sounds like they were pretty.
Yeah.
Pissed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it did help that it was like in February.
No,
right?
No, it was in
no,
November.
It was in November, and
Was
so
in
they were very
November.
mad at me because the laundry was piled very, very high, and
was.
they were like, "Could we have
We
done
pushed
this in
all that
February?"
laundry onto a truck.
Uh huh.
Two
Literally.
trucks.
you killed it though. It was beautiful. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Worked.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the podcast. Hit the like and follow button to stay updated on our latest episode. If you have ideas of topics or guests you'd like us to interview, drop us a comment, and we'll see you next time.